you've ever struggled with trying to get your camera to work, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday. It's time for another chapter in Benzinga's pre-market playbook. We got more reaction to the tariff tantrum, which I guess we're calling it now. We have Palantir literally going to the moon. Just an unbelievable report from Palantir. And of course, we're going to see if 13 got his camera fixed. Maybe did he get a new camera? We're going to figure all of that stuff out here today. It is a T3 Tuesday. Let's go ahead and get it rolling. All right, folks, hello and welcome back. And of course, happy Tuesday. It's great to see a whole bunch of returning faces here for Benzinga's pre-market playbook. We're going to go ahead and get you prepared for the day. And I suspect we're going to have another interesting day on our hands here today. Hello, friends. Hello, Chris. It is a very busy morning. We do have a lot of movers there as well. Welcome. Zvarsi Marcy. I like that name. Welcome. Tanya, welcome back. Good to see you. Paul, welcome back. Glenn, welcome back. Palantir says good morning. Yeah, it sure does. Good morning, good afternoon, good night. Palantir just on an absolute ripper of a move right now. We're going to talk about that. And don't forget, we got Anne Marie today. So if we want to figure out some different options trades for some of these stocks, we're going to do that too. Keep that on the back burner. Son of God, fisherman of men. Welcome back. Big of Bees, welcome back. Crimp Biscuit, welcome back. Jonathan, it's great to see you. Sun-Kissed Yogi, welcome back. Chuck, welcome back. Bernhard, welcome back. Day Trader, welcome back. Thanks for reaching out, Day Trader. Larry, welcome back. Hustle and Bustle, welcome back. Buffalo by Bicycle, welcome back. Congrats, Palantir Longs. Do you remember when we had several folks in the chat? Maybe it wasn't several. Do you remember when we were being told over and over that Palantir was a short in the 30s and 40s and that we were supposed to play this short for multiple 100%? Let's do a wellness check on that, folks. Frank, good morning. It's good to see you again. Yassine, good morning. Diamond Hotline, checking in. Good morning. Tom, good morning. Reaching Financial Freedom. Oh, love it. Good morning. JS Beast, good morning. Neville, good morning. Izzy, back in the house, ready to hit the Uber and the Amazon ATMs. You'll love to see it. Welcome back, Izzy. Whisk, good morning. Kayla, good morning. Sideshow Yakshamash, good morning. Brandy, it's great to see you again. Good morning. Danny, good morning. And Traders Corner, good morning. We are off. Let's go ahead and start here with the SPY. So yesterday, we're going to start off with a shout out to the chat. We had two polls yesterday. I'm actually going to go back and get those results in case we need to go at them or quote them. Excuse me. First one was, is today's market dip a buyable dip? This obviously referring to yesterday. Well, if we take a look inside, I would say it was a buyable dip, right? We got an intraday move higher when we got comments from the Mexican president. And then in the after hours, we got comments from Trudeau. The market moved higher again. Now we're a little bit softer here today, so we'll see if we're able to actually reclaim this 602 area. This was the high in the pre-market while Palantir was going off doing its thing. And after we got official word from Trudeau that they were going to do the whole border thing and try to secure the border per Trump's demand. So really the question is going to be, can we move above 602 today? This is the high print yesterday. I know we were a little bit weaker. We had earnings here this morning, which we're going to cover. We've got more earnings here, more big earnings, frankly, here tonight. So we'll see what the session kind of has in store for us today. This 600 level really kind of seems important right now. I mean, I don't really think that's breaking any new news. You got the round number aspect of it. Clearly, we've been kind of flirting with this area back and forth over the last several sessions. So 600 definitely going to be one of the upside areas here today. So just wild stuff. Now, if we take a look here at the levels here, The good news here is that we're actually right above that 50-day moving average. We're also above the 20-day moving average, which is 596.76, and then 597.67 is your 50 days. So we're holding above those. We'll see if we trade back up and go to reach some new highs. One of the things that we were discussing yesterday is that the market just is remaining resilient. And so now that yesterday's buy the dip actually worked, the question is going to be, do we actually put in new highs, or we just kind of trade around in that range? That's one of the things that we discussed yesterday on Happy Hour. So anyway, the first poll, you guys called it correctly. Oh, excuse me. No, you didn't. The winner was no, it could go lower with 49%. So we'll see if that ends up happening here today. Only 33% of you said buy the dip. Then the second poll was, will the SPY finish the day red or green? 53% of you said green, 31% of you said red. Well, we didn't quite finish green. So I think what happened here, just kind of judging from from last Monday when we had the whole DeepSeek thing, when the chat called that perfectly, I think that we kind of thought the same thing was going to happen, and I take full responsibility for that, because that was kind of what I thought was going to happen in the morning, and that was kind of what I was hinting at and alluding to, and we did not quite get it. Yes, the dip was buyable yesterday because this was all kind of just to re-engage with some trade negotiations or negotiations, if you don't want to call them trade negotiations. We got that. Question is going to be, do we continue higher here today? Do we roll over and test some of those levels? We just talked about the high at 602 right in here. Another level to be very, very wary about today, especially if we start to sell off 590. Now, I know that that's 8 points away, but this low that we printed in the after hours, in the pre-market yesterday, as well as the morning right after the open, this level is going to be important if we trade back down there. One of the other things that we discussed on Happy Hour was that when we first came in and sat down in the morning, it looked really, really bad, right? The earlier you were up, the worse the market looked. If you were trading some of the overnight action in the market, it was bad. Bitcoin defended 91K. That finished up over about 100,000. So that had a wild move too. But when we got closer to the open here, the market really kind of came off its lows. Interestingly, after the market opened, it was clearly telling us that it wanted to retest some of those, right? We sold down pretty much to the low that we had made in the pre-market. Not quite. The after hours session on Sunday had us a little bit lower. It actually had us in a 589 handle. So we did end up breaking that 590 handle. It wasn't until we actually got confirmation from the Mexican president that this thing really started to take off. So my question today is going to be, was that a one-day wonder, or do we actually hold that here today? Now, we've got earnings that are going to affect a lot of this, so we'll see how that actually plays into the equation. But nonetheless, this is where we're at on SPY. We're above the 50-day moving average. I think as long as we're above that 50-day moving average, we're probably pretty good. We are going to have Scott Redler from T3 on today, so I'm going to ask him about SPY. I know he's got some very specific rules about being long and being short the SPY, so we're going to break that down here today, or I'm going to ask him. Hopefully, we'll get an answer on that here today. Okay, let's keep running through some of the news. As I had mentioned, stocks are just kind of looking around the futures. I actually hadn't mentioned it yet, beg your pardon. S&P futures up just shy of 1/10 here today, up 0.06%. Dow futures down 0.14%, and the NASDAQ up 0.25% at 0.25. So some mixed futures across the board, but it's pretty close to flat. I don't really think there's anything that we can take away from that yet. Volatility is the new toll that we pay to invest, says an investor, and that definitely seems to be the case. This is something that we've kind of talked about from the beginning. As investors, having a president like Trump in office is going to create more volatility. And if your strategy is the just kind of buy and hold for the long term, that can, if you're checking every day, that can be rough. There can be a lot of volatile swings. However, for us active traders that are trying to capture some of this is actually one of the best environments that we can be in, because you'll see that there are moves every day. I mean, heck, just looking at our last example there, you could have been trading SPY calls just on some of the headlines for the tariff, trade war, drug war, whatever it is that you want to label it as. You could have been trading options in there, and that would have been a pretty good day trade. Don't even have to mess around with some of these smaller ones. So in any case, volatility is here to stay. We saw it yesterday as Trump effectively using what we talked about yesterday, bully tactics. It was from the Lawrence Summer article. He had mentioned that this is kind of like a bully tactic to use. Yes, I would completely agree with that. That seems to be the case. As far as what this is all going to mean in the long run, I'm sure there's a bunch of varying opinions on that. And I'm not sure which one's going to be right. But what I am sure is in the meantime, there's going to be things to trade, even if it's something broad-based like the SPY. Now, we talked a lot about the tariffs, the situation, and all of that stuff. Basically, the summary here is that the Mexican president and the Canadian prime minister both kind of, quote, came to the table post these threats. So the tariffs are on hold with both of these countries for 30 days. We'll reassess it in 30 days. The next question here is going to be, what is this going to do for trading? What else can we trade? And when I was going through this article, I came across yet another really great tweet from our friend Ryan Dietrich here regarding every year having scary headlines. And so I went ahead and pulled that here. I'll put it on a bigger screen so you folks can see it. The reality is that no matter what's going on, no matter who's in office, no matter what's on the global stage, there's always going to be scary headlines. And the chart that he's outlining here goes all the way back to 1900, and it shows you everything from the San Francisco earthquake, the Panic of 1906, World War I, World War II, the JFK assassination, obviously COVID, the Ukraine-Russia war, and everything in between. The market inevitably resolves higher. So again, if you're a long just kind of hold investor, maybe sometimes not checking some of this stuff when it's really volatile is the way to go. But if you're an active investor, that volatility can produce opportunity in both directions. So keep that in mind. He said volatility was the toll we pay to invest. I actually really like this quote. You're probably going to hear me. Oops, sorry about that. You're probably going to hear me reuse that quote, to be quite honest with you. I like that very much. Volatility is the toll that we pay to invest. A couple more quotes here from Jeremy Siegel, which we've covered as well. Now, this next story here, I rather like the headline on this one. China strikes back. My producer here mentioned that the Empire strikes back, and a Star Wars reference will get you everything in my book here. So we had talked already about Canada and Mexico. The third country that had tariffs put on there was China. Remember, the Chinese tariffs were 10% as opposed to 25% for the Mexican and Canadian tariffs. But in response to the United States' unilateral decision to impose 10% tariffs on all Chinese goods, China has announced its intention to retaliate by imposing tariffs on certain U.S. imports. 15% tariff on coal and liquefied natural gas, 10% tariff on crude oil, agricultural machinery, high displacement vehicles, and pickup trucks. Additional tariffs will be imposed on the U.S. imports on the top of existing rates. The current tax exemption and reduction policies will remain unchanged, and the additional tariffs will not be subject to reduction. So here is the response from China. As mentioned, market's a little bit soft here, but kind of mixed and really not all that bad. NASDAQ here, which was kind of our leader to the downside yesterday, and then also before on the DeepSeek sell-off, it's actually up 0.25% here today. So doesn't look all that bad out there, but that's kind of what's going on with this. So retaliatory tariffs, we'll see where this goes, and we'll see. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if this article covers it, but I'm pretty sure that there is the news that we got yesterday. Someone will have to correct me on this, but I believe the news that we got yesterday was that Trump and Xi will meet over the next 24 hours. And I recall getting that news around the afternoon when we heard from Trudeau. So using that time frame, I would expect at some point today, maybe we'll hear something out of either one of these leaders. They are supposed to be talking with one another. Okay. Next story here is going to be our good old friend Mohammed El Arian, and for those of you that watch CNBC, I'm sure you've seen Mohammed quite a bit. Follows a lot of this stuff. Mohammed El Arian flags market jitters as Trump tariff pause on Canada triggers currency swings. Larry Summers warns of the trade fallout. We covered the Larry Summers quotes yesterday, but the other thing that I wanted to mention here is some of these currency charts. This is a really awesome story. I think let me throw this in the chat for any of you. I don't know if we have any Forex traders here. I don't know if we have any Forex traders here. I don't trade Forex. I kind of paper traded Forex years and years ago when I was kind of new to trading, and I was like, I don't know, this thing isn't really for me. But I figured that I'd cover this too, because some of these currencies are going to move around and then affect some of our other markets here. So Chief Economic Advisor at Allianz, Mohammed El Arian, highlighted market reactions on social media platforms. Same outcomes for Canada in terms of both the 30-day pause and the currency retracement. So he was looking here at the Canadian currency. He was also looking at the Mexican currency here. So you'll see that when the tariff talk happened, these currencies really spiked, and then they pretty much came all the way back down to balance. The real good example here is the one with the Canadian currency. This pretty much no change after that entire back and forth here. Show the Canadian dollar. There we go. So I just wanted to really quickly mention that here. Again, we talked a little bit about Larry Summers quotes yesterday. Let me know if you guys trade Forex. I can't remember if anyone's asked that or talked about that here. I'm curious if any of you trade that. Forex trading looks dull. It does. I mean, if you take a look at this, this was considered a big move. This currency went from 1.44 to 1.47 and change. So, like I said, I don't want to poo-poo something that I don't do or understand. So if any of you are out there and you trade Forex, let me know how all of this stuff affects you. Okay, now we're going to get to this thing that probably you all want to take a look at. Let's talk about Palantir. Ticker PLTR. This has just been an absolute ripper here. Where we left off yesterday, we had this very clean double top, just about $85. We've also been talking about what do we want with Palantir in terms of its next move. I personally love this company, love it long term. And actually, before we get into that, remember, we also talked to Matt Maley yesterday. He said he loves it long term, but still also warned of just kind of how expensive and how much of a run this thing has gone on. Well, it's even more now here today. So we did break out from that 85 double top that we had. Our current price here in the pre-market is $103. Stock is up 23.1%. I believe the options were pricing in a 12.5% move. Yeah, Palantir Technologies options imply a 12.5% move in the share. We got 23%. So option sellers have been winning a lot of these prints recently. That was not the case last night. Huge move here for Palantir. And as you can see, we are now breaking into blue sky territory. Now, a couple of things here for the next trade. Just because of the situation that I find myself in, I think that this company is expensive. We'll talk about some of those eye-popping stats here in a sec. So I understand that the company is expensive. I also understand that the company is extremely important, has ties with the United States government. A lot of the guys that work or have connections to Palantir are friends with the current administration and some of the tech bros that are in there, like Elon Musk and all that. So it's risky to bet against them. But at some point, gravity has to affect some of these stocks, right? So the way that I'm kind of playing this for the next trade here, first of all, as far as a long-term investment, I want to be patient. I really want this to come back in and give me a better price. And I got to think at some point we're going to do that. We'll see how it shakes out. The way that I'm looking at the next trade here, we have the potential of a floating island setup with this candle, as this candle forms here today, and as it forms the rest of the week. Those candles are going to be very, very important. And that floating island is going to tell me, do we maybe have a regression back to the mean here, or do we have another push higher? So I'm going to be very, very keen today at the end of the day. One of the things that I want to take a look at, what does this candle look like? right? What are some of the levels at both the top and the bottom end of the candle? And then what do we do tomorrow? If we test the bottom end, wherever this candle ends up forming, if we test the bottom end of that range and we continue to hold there, to me, the longer we hold there, the higher the probability that this thing is going to trade up towards the top end of the candle and then maybe even break out again. And I know that seems crazy given the move that we've had here. I mean, just to look at the RSI, daily RSI of 80 right now, we are in extreme overbought territory. If the candle cannot hold this huge gap, I suspect that we might actually trade back down. We might even fill this gap. We don't, maybe we hold out there or hang out there around $90. So again, I'm interested to see on Palantir. Long term, I'm a bull on this stock. I like this stock. It's just moved too far, too fast. And unfortunately, it's done it without me, which is perhaps the biggest bummer of the whole thing here. As far as some of the earnings go, again, there were some eye-popping numbers out of this report. Let's dive in. It was a revenue beat, EPS beat, U.S. revenue up 52%, customer count up 43%, strong guidance. So a couple more of these stats here as far as this percentages here. The total revenue was up 36% year over year. U.S. revenue grew 52% year over year. U.S. commercial revenue grew 64% year over year to $214 million. And the U.S. government revenue climbed 45% year over year to $343 million. Palantir's customer count grew 43% year over year and 13% on a quarter over quarter basis. Just eye-popping growth numbers here. Great, really across the board. So if you look into this article, it's really going to kind of go over all of that. Alex Karp here, quote, "Our business results continue to astound," I would say, demonstrating our deepening position at the center of the AI revolution. Our early insights surrounding the commoditization of large language models have evolved from theory to fact. So Karp here is no stranger to making quotes, loves to go on CNBC and some of the other channels and talk, and he loves to attack short sellers, by the way. I bet he's doing a victory lap here today. We are still in the early stages, the beginning of the first act of a revolution that will play out over years and decades, Karp said in a letter to shareholders. So, okay, so I know the question here is, well, it's crazy, like it's valuation here. This is trading right now at 79 times revenue and 471 times earnings. So that means that you're paying $471 for every dollar of earnings for Palantir. Now, that's PE. That's a very basic fundamental measurement. That basically tells us that this is a growth stock. And one of the reasons you're seeing this performance is because the growth numbers that are being reported here are eye-popping. Really, the takeaway here is how long can that last? So again, kind of what I'd like to get from the group. What do you folks think on this? I asked yesterday in the happy hour, what do we see first, 150 or 60? And I don't think I got a single vote for $60. I think and it was very unscientific. I basically just asked the question aloud and people responded. And I can't recall a single person that said we're going to see 60. This thing continued momentum here to the upside. Okay. Let me go back here and see if I missed any quotes. I probably missed a ton of stuff because I know Palantir is so popular here. Okay. Palantir. Watching Visa for okay, sorry, we'll get to that, Brandy. I can actually bring up Visa here in a little bit. My Palantir strategy was to never sell a single share. Well, Buffalo by Bicycle, your strategy was better than mine, right? Because I was trying to play options and I was trying to wait and be patient and cute and wait for a really good price. And the stock said, F you, I'm going to run away from you. And that's what happened. I think Nick saying, Nick, I believe that you're referring to Palantir. So I'm going to read this here under the assumption that you are. If I'm misquoting you, please correct me. That's not my intention. I think it'll tank at some point today, but then it will try to recover. That would actually make for a really good trade if that's what happens. Lion Atlas saying, let's go Palantir Army. Lion, I expected nothing less from you on Palantir. Raz saying he's lying. Raj, are you referring to Alex Karp? I finished off by reading some Alex Karp's quotes there. Are you referring to me? Happy to address that. Palantir, Steve saying Palantir in the past likes to drop off hard after hitting an all-time high and then slowly climb back up, but we'll see. Well, Steve, that sounds awfully familiar to what Nick was just saying. So it sounds to me like you guys are formulating trading plans on what could possibly happen here today. Giddy up. That would be awesome. Okay. Take profits and then reload later. I think that's really smart. The valuation stronger, saying the valuation is ridiculous. What's the peg on it? Actually, I didn't have that the peg there. I just had the PE, but let me see if I can get that here. Peg ratio 3.35. Their trailing 12-month peg ratio, according to Benzinga Pro, 3.35 there. So, like we were saying, expensive. Brandy saying Palantir will reverse and be a good trade. It's currently way too overvalued. So, okay, awesome. The group really kind of seems to agree here. We have a stock that's an absolute monster. But it is overvalued. And it looks like a lot of you, or a contingent of you, are kind of waiting for this to make sense. So we'll see if we maybe get a blow off top type action here today, see what the next trade is. And maybe we'll even ask Anne Marie, maybe we can set up a double butterfly in case if we think this is going to move in either direction, maybe an iron condor. If we think this is going to come back in, we might ask Anne Marie about that here today. Hustle and bustle, take care. If the clients are calling this early, you might have a busy day ahead of you, and that is awesome. So, okay. Sounds good. We'll go from there and we'll see what happens here with Palantir. Just massive. I'm curious if any of you played this for earnings, or any of you having one of those mornings where it's like Christmas morning where you're like, I can't wait to unwrap this trade that's going to be up 1,000% on those earnings. Let me know if any of you folks traded this here for earnings. No position for me, and I'm a bit bummed about it, to be quite honest with you. Okay, and then the other thing there is another story there is Palantir is making America more lethal as the Alex Karp-led company secures $1.8 billion in AI contracts. This story gives you a little bit of insight into kind of what they're doing there. The company reported fourth quarter revenue of $827 million, significantly beating analyst estimates. Again, we've talked a lot about the reaction here. We've talked a lot about the unprecedented growth. Wedbush Securities financial analysts are bullish on Palantir's prospects. Yeah, you don't say. Wedbush Securities Managing Director Dan Ives describes the earnings as massive AIP growth and suggested that the company could become the next Oracle, with a potential for being a $1 trillion market cap company. That's something else, right? Palantir's market cap going into today, $190 billion. You're talking about $1 trillion. That's a 5x plus increase from where we're at here this morning. So just huge potential there, at least according to Dan Ives. Palantir stock surge 22. Okay, so there you go. So Palantir, would love to hear what you folks are doing with that here today. Did you trade it last night? Are you ready for today with that trade? Are you going to make another trade here today on Palantir? Again, I want to see if this shows any type of weakness, like this might backtest any of these levels or maybe even close this gap down. I could see myself playing that, but the trade that I'm waiting for the most is where this thing bottoms and then gives us an opportunity to go long for the long term. That would be my thought there on Palantir. Skanda saying, you guys think Palantir is overrated. I don't think it's overrated. I think it's an excellent company with a great business that's going to be connected to the government and this country for a long time. I do think it is a little extended here on a fundamental basis. One of the things that I was saying to people last night when we were talking about this, fundamentals don't matter until they do. So 471 PE right now. What's to stop this from being a 500 plus PE tomorrow if it continues to trade up? Just because the fundamentals are a little out of whack doesn't mean that the stock needs to come back in. We've seen that quite a bit recently. But if we take a look at, let's say, something like NVIDIA, for example, you'll see that this, can be bullish, it can be expensive, it can be overbought, it can be really, really hyped for a long time. Eventually, when that train comes to a halt, will be on the backside of that move. Now, it feels like that's where we're at with NVIDIA, especially since we've broken a couple of trends and we've broken the 200-day. We'll see how long it takes to do that with Palantir. Big Abees says, I think we're underestimating Palantir. Fair point. I'm trying to stay as impartial as I can, because like I said, I really do like the company and I like the vision, but I do really think that the stock is just kind of overvalued. So it's hard for me to say, you know what, I'm just going to buy some long-term shares, especially on a day where the stock is plus 24%. It's just not, it just doesn't seem like the right move. Now, to be fair, if we are overestimating this, or excuse me, if we are underestimating this, there's likely going to be another huge run, and if we don't have exposure to that, we're going to miss that. I don't intend on doing that, but I also don't intend on throwing a bunch of profit away chasing a move that has just been an actual rocket ship. Okay, so. All right. Lion, you said I did. Ryan, I have 3 call contracts for 85 and 2 contracts for 80. Well, get ready to close those at a massive gain here today. Lion Roaring Mouse says I grabbed 100 shares of Palantir at 350 and just sold it this morning. Well, you guys, I'm just going to start giving you register rings. And it sounds like there are a couple of you that are trading this. So register rings abound for all of that. Okay. Diamond Hotline saying, Ryan, Palantir to reverse needs a catalyst. Indeed. I don't just think people are going to wake up and be like, well, gosh, the stock's expensive, let's sell it off. I don't really think that's going to be the case. And I'll tell you something, we've seen this with a lot of other stocks that have upside momentum. Jumping in front of it, not the greatest plan, right? Jumping in front of a momentum train, not the best for your P&L. Definitely in a league of its own on Palantir. I got out at 44. Wish that didn't happen. Yeah, I mean, the thing for the last upside trade that I did on this was an options trade. So my time was limited from the get-go. There was only a certain amount of time that I was going to stay in that trade. I ended up closing that trade in 3 tranches, like 100, 200, and like 250%. So I did fine with it, but I too wish that I wasn't out of it, especially on the move from 50 now to 100. Actually doubled from after when we sold that. Just absolutely crazy. Great company, just the valuation is too high. Eventually it'll catch up and make sense. Okay. Palantir has a moat, hold some. Okay. Awesome. Really good stuff here. Okay. Well, we're still waiting for Red Dog from T3. So I guess one of the other things that we can do here is cover some of the other earnings. Let's take a very quick peek at NXPI. This was another stock that reported earnings yesterday. Stock's up just about 1% here today. This is kind of just not a whole lot of reaction here, right? Company did report adjusted EPS 318, that beat the 314 estimate. Sales 3.11 billion, beat the 3.10 billion estimate. So a beat on the top and the bottom line. Adjusted EPS looks like it's pretty much right in line. The estimate was for 268. The range that they gave you was 239 to 279. So the estimate pretty much right in the midpoint there of the range. Nothing crazy there on the guidance. They estimated their revenue 2.725 billion to 2.925 billion. Again, the estimate there 2.892 billion. So in line here. NXP Semiconductors up just about 1% here. By the way, NXP Semiconductors here, forward PE here of 15. Okay, 15. You look at something like NVIDIA, what's that at here this morning? 27. So I think some of these semiconductors, which traditionally had low price to earnings multiples, actually might come in a little bit more. So we'll see here. We'll see here what happens with NVIDIA. I'm not sure we're done with that just yet. And then you folks were mentioning some earnings here this morning, right? Let's see. PayPal, Ryan, they had earnings this morning, didn't they? I guess we could take a look at PayPal here. Okay, here is your PayPal. So it looks like initially this moved higher and then moved lower here. PayPal EPS 119 beats the 112 estimate. Sales 8.36 billion beat the 8.25 billion estimate. So beat on the top and the bottom line there. PayPal ended up reversing here. It's got to be something else. Buyback in this. Interesting. Guide pretty much above the range. So interesting. We will go ahead. We'll go ahead and take a look at PayPal here, especially when the market opens. Looks like a beat in the top and the bottom line. Stock is trading lower here, 7.75%. Okay, folks, it's 8:34. It's a T3 Tuesday. You know what that means. Time for our special guest. We're going to go ahead and bring on Red Dog. Scott, good morning. Happy Tuesday. How you doing today? How are the push-ups, my man?
I'm doing great. How you doing? How are your push-ups going?
Doing good. I haven't missed a day since we talked about it, including the weekends. And I got to say, oops, sorry about that. I got to say, there's a number of things that I've done for like physical activity just to try and make my day better. But adding this to the very early morning when I've barely even totally woken up has really kind of changed things. So shout out to you. I'll let you know if I eventually invest in a cold plunge. That might be the next thing.
Well, I was going to say, let's go to the next step. So I don't know if you saw, I have a subscribe button in my public Twitter because I now do a video from my sauna. I have a sauna. So I call it 20 at 5:20. So every day, Monday through Thursday, I go on my sauna, I have a webcam, and I do a 20-minute workout with 15-minute weights. I sweat. I talk about what's happening pre-market, what's happening overseas, what type of positions I have. We think about getting mentally strong so we could have multiple plans in our day, even before coming to the office and then doing the 6:30 club, which also has a lot of tactical charts, and that's more chart oriented. And then obviously the Alpha team is where we live and we trade all day long and exchange ideas. But the pre-market and the pre-game is what I've been doing for 25 years, which has kept me in the game. The push-ups aren't until lunchtime. At 5:20 in the morning, I am with my weights, I'm sweating it out, and I'm really thinking about my day and framing my day, and getting ready for whatever's thrown at me for when the market opens at 9:30.
Okay, that's awesome stuff. I gotta say, as far as those push-ups go, 6 minutes. Do you take breaks, or are you just 6 minutes just constant?
I'm going to do a little video to show everyone because a lot of people have said those questions. So I listened to a little tribute to Rocky and Creed.
Mm-hmm.
I do as many regular as I can
Mm-hmm.
first, and usually that's about 50, and then I always end with 5 really slow ones. Then I rest 20 seconds and I go really wide.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting a different part of your chest and your shoulders, and I probably do about 30 of those. And then I go really close, so you're hitting all different parts of it. And by that point, I'm already about 4 minutes in, rest a second, and then I do regular 5, 4, all the way down. And then all of a sudden, 6 minutes go by and I do like 120, 130 push-ups instead of in a row. So it's more like a 6-minute process where you're doing all different angles, listening to motivating. Rocky motivates me. I don't know if it motivates the world, but I freaking love that guy. And his mantra of going that extra round is really what has been, the mantra of my life from when I was like 12 years old, wrestling, losing weight, and going against the guys out there. When remember Rocky IV, right before he was leaving for Russia, when he says to his kids, he's like, "Aren't you scared?" He's like, "Well, sometimes you do get scared, but going that extra round in your life when you don't think you can is what makes the difference in your life." So that's why we try and do some hard things now as adults, because you don't have many of opportunities like that to build your go time.
Really, really good advice, folks. You're going to get more than trading advice here, Scott. That's absolutely awesome. By the way, folks, download Scott's free ebook to see his #1 spot to buy and get his free indicator that alerts you. QR code on the screen, link in the chat. Okay, Scott, let's get some of the charts here. If you want me here? Let me throw your charts. Yeah, let me throw up your charts here. Okay, what do you got for us? I do have a couple of quick questions here. Looks like you have the SPY up here first. That's perfect. One of the things that I was going to ask you here, what does the SPY chart say? I noticed, just kind of going with some of your things, the 8 and the 21, which I see in your notes here that you're going to cover. We're under the 8. We're above the 21. Do we go long if SPY retakes 602? What do you say?
I don't think it's just like a blind go long because of the way this tape is with the tape bombs. It's more like a range trade. It's a setup trade. Like yesterday, we were down 90, 80, 90 handles or so. So there were ways to tactically buy verse a 5-minute low, a 15-minute low, a 30-minute low. There were ways to buy a dip in strong names that were down just because of the futures. Like we saw, Amazon went green yesterday. Google went green yesterday. Reddit exploded yesterday. It's always been going green. Dash went from red to positive. So there are times when it's easier to hold swing longs, and that is when we're above the 8 and 21 day trending nicely, and that's when I usually have 15 to 20 positions on. Yesterday I had like 3 or 4 coming into yesterday because I didn't get stopped out of them on that Friday decline, and it kind of hurt. So I think each day I'm treating as like a tactical day. And as long as names are acting special where I could be long, buy a dip, it could go green, trade around, and it doesn't hurt me, I'll try and stay with that. But there's only a few names like that when you're below the 8 and 21 day in the SPYs.
Okay. Real good stuff there with the SPY. Okay, so the question I think on everyone's mind here is going to be Palantir. Did you have anything else that you wanted to go over on the SPY, or did you have some individual names that you wanted to cover here this morning?
Yeah, I want to do a few names because Palantir, that was yesterday. Okay,
Yep.
now this is today. Palantir, we were talking on the Alpha team. It was really funny because I have this Todd who's on there. He was my pledge brother back in the day in SUNY Albany. His pledge name was Flanders, and meanwhile he started a year ago, and he's like one of the smartest guys on the Alpha team now. And he showed everybody he had like 7 different strikes of $85 for Palantir because that was the strike that I had to get above and stay above in order to get momentum. And PS, it's at 100. So he was telling everyone he's taking them to Sizzler. Actually, he might be taking them to a little bit higher end restaurant than that. But it was funny. I didn't play it. I'm not going to make it like I played it. But again, I'm the chief strategic officer. So I just come up with strategies for those who want to embrace or approach certain names. So for Palantir, I didn't play, but it's been on my go-to list for a year and a half. I've played it multiple times ever since it was $11. I just want to say congratulations to investors on Benzinga or anywhere that that got involved in this name early, did their research. There are certain names that could change people's lives, and this name has changed some people's lives over the last few years as an investor, and as far as a trader, it's been a really great go-to name. I've had these 3 together. Palantir, Reddit. Okay, Reddit. If you remember that gap down on January 27th, I'm like, will Reddit prove its special again? That was down $8. You were able to buy it to go green, proved go-to status. Yesterday, it proved it again. It only went to the 8th day. It reclaimed 195, and now it looks like it's going above 208. Ryan, we've spoken about DoorDash last time. I think last week we spoke about it. It gapped down in the 8th day that Monday. You could have bought it down 4 and made money yesterday. Gap down 3. Could have bought. There are some names that keep proving that you could stay with them at the top of your go-to list. These are your A-list players. You only have so much space in your computers for A-list players. Every now and then, some come in and some go out. Like Nvidia is not an A-list player anymore.
Right.
Right now Tesla's like a B plus-ish. Yesterday hurt me on Tesla. So let's talk about Tesla real quick because some guys are like, well, you got stopped out of Tesla, and then you went back to it later in the day. Why? I'm like, well, my thought was post earnings, if it was going to be kind of special, it'd hold 384. It didn't. So I get out of 384 yesterday, took my lumps, went to 373, 374, came off of it. And then I saw the news about the tariffs and this and that. It started acting better. So I went back smaller. And now I'm thinking maybe it gets above this 389.17 and fills a portion of this gap just for a trade. So I think we can have a good day trade here in Tesla. I had some overnight. I added only up $1. I'm going to see how it trades into that. Just be careful because in order for this to fill the gap, it's got to get above and stay above. Sometimes it pushes and fails, gets above 389. Today, that might pay for your lunch. So I'm watching Tesla, but it's not an A-list player right now. It's trying to prove whether or not you could sit in it, and it's been a little tougher to sit in. I will say, for earnings this week, I'm in Google earnings.
Okay, that's tonight.
That's tonight. I never take the stock into earnings, but what I do is I take options. I did buy. I like to buy options when things are down. Like yesterday, the market was lower. That's when you want to buy options for a binary event. So I bought more options for it yesterday. I have some 205s and 210s, and hopefully we'll see how that goes today. It'd be nice if it actually works. There are things working, but not everything right now because it's been a little bit erratic with all these tape bombs.
Yeah, no question it has been. And I think that's part of the calculus here, right? Figuring out when's the next bomb going to come if you can. 2 other stocks that are reporting earnings here. I just wanted to see if you had an opinion on Chipotle, ticker CMG, and then EA, ticker EA. I'm just wondering, I know that these are real popular. They've they've made some huge moves in the past. Do you have any setup on these, or is there anything that jumps out of the chart at you?
Well, I will say Chipotle is not priced for perfection. It's been in a corrective phase. It was one of those names that couldn't do no wrong for a while. But so, if it has a positive or a strong report and guidance, I would think that there is room. The previous high from December, is 66. So there's room from just say if I were to, I'm not playing Chipotle, even though my son loves it. Um, double chicken with rice, not so bad. I would buy the $60 calls, and then if you want to do a call spread, maybe sell the 60. I would do a 60 by 65 call spread. That if it does report and it does, behave, that would be a good call spread if I was looking to be long there. But I'm not going to be playing Chipotle. Someone just asked me about AMD. I haven't played AMD in a while. It's been horrible.
It sure
Basically,
has.
if I've had a dollar for everyone who said they're buying a dip in AMD, I'd have a lot of dollars, but be down a lot of money because the stock hasn't done anything. But I do think down here there's a setup. It's hated now. Like this is a hated name. This was 228, 180, 187, 174, and now it's put a low in at 113. I might just for fun buy the 120 calls, just to have something on in case they say something that could spark some kind of squeeze, some kind of move. It's not a core play. This is what I call a lotto play. Brian, have you ever won the lotto?
I haven't.
Okay, so that means lotto plays usually don't work, but when they work, they can make you a lot of money. So you don't want to risk a lot in a lotto play. You just want to, put some money that you don't mind losing, but it could make you 4 or 5x. You could even do a call spread if you want, or you could even go higher. I would say the 120s aren't really a lotto spread. If you went with like the 130s, which would be a lot cheaper, or a lotto play, that'd be much more of like a lotto type play.
Okay, awesome. I was going to say I've never actually won the lottery, but I have had a couple of lotto plays that ended up working. Shout out to Uncle Warren when I had Kraft calls and he merged Kraft and Heinz a year ago. That was one of my biggest lotto plays. That was a good morning. Okay, really good stuff there on AMD. Is there anything else that's just kind of on your radar here? I said give you the last couple of minutes. Is there any other setups that you really like here? I know we've talked about Amazon before. You talked about Google already here. Anything else that you're seeing out there that you like that you're looking to trade?
I'm in Amazon.
Okay.
Amazon chart looks good. I'm also in it for earnings. I've been playing this. It's been methodically working higher. This has been one of the Mag 7 names that actually have paid you to buy a dip. It hasn't really been that predatory, meaning trapping you. Even when I was long on this day, when it looked good, I was able to buy a dip. And then if you remember last Monday, that was actually fantastic when it,
Sure
traded
was.
above, made a new high. And then I got stopped out of my Amazon on that day. I was off the desk and I was a little tight. But then yesterday I rebought it back on the dip. So I'm long Amazon into this little, Amazon's up a little bit. It's up $1. I always trim a little bit to net money when it's up, and then I see how it works out. And I also bought a little bit of the 245 calls for earnings just in case, it wants to have a nice move of $20 or so. I don't like to miss those moves, and Amazon's one of my names. And I'll trade it after hours also. Whereas if it takes out that momentum level, in order to get to 255, what does it have to get above and stay above, Ryan?
I'm sorry, I can't see the chart there. In order to get to 255, looks like it needs to take out that 241.72.
Right? Is rocket science, isn't it?
I mean, look, yeah, I went to school for rocket science, Scott, so I get it, but
I didn't. I was marketing finance major.
yeah, I don't. And before I start any rumors here, really quick, I was a business management major with a minor in finance, so I was not working on rocket ships ever. All right, folks, awesome. Download Scott's free ebook, get his #1 spot to buy, get his free indicator that alerts you to all this. Red Dog can't thank you enough. All of the positivity that you bring here, whether it be charts or whether it be really kind of getting your fitness together and getting ready for the market, we appreciate you. Thanks, and have a great rest of your week. All right.
I appreciate you, and thanks for that, because again, we're in a very a lot of jobs are stressful out there, but you get a lot of immediate rights or wrongs. So you need to be mentally fit, mentally tough in order to, let the market, when it's not rewarding you, you reward yourself. You are not your P&L. Yes, granted, some days feel better than others. Okay, you are who you are, and if you keep building your inner game, everything else on the outer side falls into place.
Absolutely. And you know what? Focusing on physical fitness was something that I started to do after I started this career, and it helped me, and it continues to help me every day. So anytime someone else is going to promote that same thing, that's something that we can all do here. Starting with push-ups is free. So
Yes.
really appreciate it. Red Dog, have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. We'll check in with you next time. All right.
All right. Definitely. Good luck today.
Yep. Take care. That is Scott Redler from T3 Trading. He is an ace. He's been doing this for a long time, folks, and we're lucky to have him show up here and share some of the setups there. Looks like several of you looking at Google, Amazon. Okay, looks like you're going to take some of those plays there as well. So real good stuff there. Again, we're really appreciative of Scott and the entire T3 team. QR code on the screen there, link in the chat. Be sure to check it out. Okay, Scott's departure leaves room for 13. So now, guess what, folks? We're going to find out. The moment of truth is here. The moment of truth is here. The camera looks like it's working. 13, how you doing here this morning, dude?
I'm still a little stressed out. You can hear me, right?
I can hear you perfectly.
Okay.
Sounds like you're in the room with me, actually.
So yeah, I got a new camera. Didn't want to try to figure out what's going on with that last one. I thought it was, restream because of the mic issue that we had previously. It turns out this time it was the camera. I just said, forget it, get a new one. So hopefully we don't have any problems with that. However, I also decided to flash update my BIOS and ran into a bunch of stability problems after that. So hopefully I don't crash here today. But if I do, I'll be right back. So just kind of throw that caveat
I'll say
out
this.
there.
Looks fine. And by the way, I know we were talking a little bit yesterday. It is the Razer Kaio Pro, right?
Yeah. No. Let me just pull this out of the trash here. It's the Kaio X.
Okay. Interesting. I have the Kaio Pro from Razer here, and I stopped using it, and I'm using another camera because I had some intermittent issues. So maybe that is a brand specific thing. Anyway, we just had an awesome breakdown with Scott Redler. Ran through a number of some of these bigger cap stocks and some of the setups that we're seeing here and what to look for. Actually gave us some options trades on there as well, which is pretty sweet. I know you folks are always asking about that. Got a little bit of a bonus from Red Dog here this morning. 13, what do you want to cover here? We did, of course, cover the Palantir earnings, but if there's something that you want to add to that, we're welcome to do that. I haven't touched any of the movers, and I really haven't touched any of the earnings from this morning outside of taking a brief look at PayPal. So our slate is pretty open here. 39 minutes till we open. What do you want to start with?
First, I'm going to address Bigabees. Yeah, I know that's what the weekends are for. That wasn't part of the plan here. It just was trying to fix that whole camera thing. I'm here at this point now. It is what it is. I'm going to try and make the best of it. Let's start with the movers.
So I'm actually going to steel man you here a little bit. You had mentioned yesterday after happy hour that you were going to work on this, and I had completely forgot about that. And you had texted me later in the day with a summary of everything that was going on. So Bigabees, one of the things that I'll say is, yeah, plan maintenance, definitely do it over the weekend. Yep. Saw a really awesome tweet a couple of weeks ago of an ASCII guy holding up a sign that says, "Don't push to production on a Friday." Am I right? That was a GitHub joke for all of our developers out there.
All you CrowdStrike fans out there.
All you CrowdStrike fans out there. But sometimes we have to deal with unexpected things that kind of creep up. And 13, I'll say that your commitment to dealing with that issue is commendable. And here you are. You didn't even miss a day. So very much like hockey players, when they get hurt, don't miss shifts, and football players don't miss plays. 13 misses 0 shows. So we're good.
And folks, if you're just now joining us, you're watching 13 Problems But Orion Ain't One. Let's go look at some movers.
Whoa. Okay, that was super good. We'll go ahead and start with the movers here. First one that I have on my list is going to be ticker VLCN. This is Victor Lima Charlie November. This is Volcon. Actually, I did not have this one on my list, so maybe it just started here. Yeah. Really, really good volume. Let's take a peek at the news. Again, I was not prepared for this because this news wasn't out when I sat down here. Volcon becomes exclusive U.S. distributor of supersonic golf carts. Okay, before I read into this PR and actually bring myself back to reality, I'm going to pretend that supersonic golf carts are exactly what I think they are. That's making me smile and making me really eager for golf season to start. Come on, winter.
Are you thinking
Let's get out of here.
they drop a whole bunch of gold rings when they run into each other?
No, not that, Sonic. I'm thinking
Okay.
that maybe this is a little bit quicker of a golf cart, and it's going to get me to my ball, which is slightly off the fairway, and I'm not going to have to. I'll tell you what. And I'm sorry about ranting here about golf because I know not everybody plays, but man, oh man, when you go to these different courses and then all of a sudden you get the golf cart that just will not drive, it is like prying my eyes out with spoons. Make it go faster, please. We're all adults here. Make the damn cart go faster. So anyway, when I hear supersonic golf carts, I think, yes, slowness is probably not a problem here. Did you go through this, PR? What's going on with this?
This is one of the last things that I looked at before I came on here. You've got everything that I already wrote down. Exclusive distributor in the U.S. for supersonic golf carts. It does have some, slightly elevated short interest. My read on this was 13.6%. I know that some folks are posting some information about this company in there, which is great because I didn't completely go through all this, but apparently they did do some reverse splits, according to one gentleman in the chat there. Company does need cash. I don't think they have enough to move forward with this unless they are planning to do some kind of capital raise. I don't think they have mentioned one in here. I don't see one. They also have 560,000 shares in the float. So very, very low float, very easy to move around. Most likely the reason why we're seeing this price action we're getting right now.
Also, David, big shout out to David here saying VLCN did 3 reverse splits in 2024. One of them was a 1 for 100. The most recent was a 1 for 8 on November 11th. David, really good data point here. So keep that in mind. I was just perusing through the PR there as you were going off 13. Looks like the golf cart industry, according to the U.S. Census Bureau, 114,000 golf carts valued at 450 million were imported from China. This goes on to say Volcon secures a relationship in Vietnam that translates to golf carts being taxed at 2.5% as opposed to the 500% for units from China. So maybe that's attributing to the huge move higher here. This stock plus 88%. Looks like we stopped just shy of 684. Looks to be. Did I get that right? Yeah, 683. Your high print here in the pre-market on VLCN. Let's take a quick look at the short interest. I've got 13.69% of the float shorted with 2.72 days to cover. So not crazy high, but definitely elevated, something we want to keep in mind there. And then as you had mentioned earlier, float here under 1 million. This float reminds me, we had another one recently that was super small.
Yeah.
What was the ticker on that one?
I could look through my list here and
yeah, me too. I can't remember.
But, this is something we have traded before. I think we may have traded it back in August. I don't know what the news was, but I see I have some levels here from when we traded this previously, and it looks like August was that last big spike in volume and price action that we had. So that's kind of where I'm getting it from. As far as levels go, we've got some we can look at here. We're right about 650. So I have 670, 675 is one, 750 is another. And then after that, there seems to be an area between 840 and 890 that the price could bounce around for a little bit. So there's some levels to the upside for you. That's VLCN. This is just getting going here.
Yeah, it sure is. We are pushing here. So VLCN likely going to be in play here today. I'm going to put this on the 5 and I'm going to.
I wonder if this is just, another attempt to, obviously it's like another attempt just to get around the tariff, because it's going through Vietnam. We'll see what happens with this one. This could, maybe not right away, but this could end up being something that gets, hit or, has some kind of rule because it ultimately comes from China, but we'll see.
Real quickly here, conditionally accepted says those supersonic golf carts can get you into water hazards faster. Is he saying you can play 18 holes in 12 minutes? I'll say this. That I definitely don't want, right? Part of the allure of golf is being out there for hours. Here. Lion, I bought it when it was a startup. I sold it as soon as they went public. Well, you'll get another opportunity, it sounds like. And then there was another comment here. Let me see if I can find it there. I can't. I got lost there. Sorry about that. Sorry about that. Anyway, VLCN, this is on deck here today. We'll see where this ends up going. Okay, let's keep moving here. The next one that I have is going to be ticker QNTM. Oh my, Quantum Biopharma. So not only do we have a quantum name here, looks like there were some other quantum stocks that might have made the news here, but QNTM, this is another one that we can add to our list here. Quantum Biopharma shares are trading higher after the company announced positive clinical trial results for its unbuzzed dietary supplement, showing it accelerated the reduction of blood alcohol concentration. The stock popped above $7. Tried to hold that $7, really couldn't do it. We've rolled back over. They actually started to break away from the VWAP here. So looks like we found some support there at $5. Let me go back. Okay. So that was one of the high prints that we made on January 7th. Interesting. Looks like we were up here again in November of last year. So it looks like we're kind of back in that same area. Here's your daily chart for QNTM. You can see that this stock is no stranger to pops and drops. Keep that in mind with your trade plan here today. Quick look around the horn. 2.23% of the float shorted there. 1.8 million shares in the float. A lot of volume here today. 13. What do you make of QNTM?
So this is a company that apparently has a product similar to, I believe, Sober Safe, where this you consume it and it helps you become less inebriated, or less drunk. So that's their product called Unbuzzed that they had this trial for. Now, I don't think this was one of those normal trials where it goes from 1 to 2 and 3 and so forth. This was a double-blind study. With the placebo. So I'm not sure how many more trials are going to do after this or what the plan is next, but they have about a quarter's worth of cash. So they're going to need to raise some capital, unless I think I may have seen it was either this one or EBAX. I thought they were doing a capital raise. Let me just double check here. No, this one hasn't announced anything that do with capital raises, but they did announce the purchase of 1 million of Bitcoin. So,
how about that?
Yeah, so that's another theme we've been seeing happen here with some of these smaller biotechs and these smaller names. Just get a little Bitcoin; it'll help you raise your position when that goes up, or your stock. This has 1.829 million shares in the float, so it can be very easy to move around. But as I mentioned with the cash, I think they're going to potentially do a raise at some point soon. So just be careful with that. That could be something that ends up happening as early as today.
Okay, the interesting thing here, one of the we were just talking about the unbuzzed product and what that does, and right here, the title of the PR mentions how it accelerates the rate at which the blood alcohol concentration is reduced. So I know that that's the number that they test if they're testing to see if you're drunk. But what I wanted to see here is if there were other actual improvements that might impact a driver's ability. And, obviously I have no familiarity with this product or really drinking and driving for that matter while we're on the subject. But it does look like they addressed some of the other things that I was concerned with here. Study participants reported statistically significant improvement in alertness in as soon as 30 minutes. So it's not just that the blood alcohol content is being reduced. They're actually seeing physical things due to this, more alertness. That's definitely something that you'd want a driver to have. Lessen the elevation in heart rate and the drop in blood pressure that often accompanies alcohol intoxication, helped alleviate perceived impairment and mental fatigue caused by alcohol intoxication, and also has hangover relief, said there was well tolerated and no adverse side effects. I'll be honest with you, the PR reads pretty well here. My big concern with some of this stuff is, does it just actually mask the number that might get you in trouble, or does it actually make you better on the road or better behind the wheel? From going through that PR, it sure seems like they actually tested some of these other things, and it seems like it actually makes you a less impaired driver. Makes you I don't want to say a better driver, because that's not what I'm trying to get at, but it does look like it affects more than just the blood alcohol level there. Interesting. Nonetheless, on the 5-minute chart here, did you give levels? Did you have any levels on this
I
one?
do.
Okay.
I do.
What do you got?
So one of the things it's doing right now is trying to hold the 65 EMA on the daily chart. If we continue to do that, the levels I have to the upside, and we're not too far away from one, is going to be 570, 690, and 885. Those are going to be the three next significant levels I see on the way up. And right at about that 885 to 9 area, there's going to be significant amounts of consolidation from July of last year. That could be a really sticky area where the price could hang out for a bit or just get slapped right back down. And we'll have to wait and see how this trades, because if it does, I also have some wacky, stupid levels that we could look into if we get up there. But that's not going to be until we get into the double digits. So for now, it's going to be those three I give.
Okay. For now, really at this point, we'll see if we can continue to hold 5. Maybe we recapture the VWAP. Okay.
Yeah, and it's got to recapture like you said, we have to recapture VWAP. But MACD looks like it is trying to curl up, so it's encouraging.
Okay. And actually, Jonathan here mentioning if I just do this.
Oh, nice.
Look at that. So Jonathan mentioned here, just bounced off its 50% retracement off the top. So real closer. I basically just did a Fibonacci extension from the start of this move to the top of that move. We're real close to that being exact on that 50% retracement. So good mention there, Jonathan.
Not like in the formation right at the moment, but let's see what happens here in a little bit.
I'm with you. We've actually seen some of this. Like this is going to kind of bounce up and then maybe roll back over there. Daniel, I apologize, saying golf carts cause around 600 deaths per year. I mean, that number seems extremely high. I've actually, the only golf cart injury that I'm aware of from my own personal circle is one of my buddies who had his leg broken because the guy driving the golf cart was intoxicated. Maybe he could have used some of that unbuzzed. I don't know. 600 deaths per year. Wow. That would be I guess maybe your last day is on a golf cart. I don't know. That sounds high. Be careful out there on golf carts, folks. Don't drive recklessly. Okay. Next stock here is going to be EVAX, ticker EVAX. We actually had news yesterday, I believe, from Wainwright. Did I get that right? Let's see.
Yeah.
Yes. Yesterday morning, Wainwright reiterates a buy and maintained a $14 price target. Today, it looks like this might have been from yesterday. We're getting the article here today. Price target lowered to 6 from 35 at Lake Street. Now that $6 price target clearly higher than what we have here today. Quick look around the horn here at what's going on. Short interest. I actually don't have a float reading. I do have the short interest in quite a bit from the last print that we had at the beginning of the year. So it looks like some of these shorts are covered up, at least from the data that we're getting here. And then the float actually is 4.66 million. So we do have a float rating. 13, what do you make of this one?
So I mean, I have information on the float. I have is 4.66 million.
Yeah, me too.
Like you said, and then the short interest. Well, we don't have a current read on it, but the last one was close to 23%. So I don't know if I'll put a lot of stock into that. But I think the analyst coverage yesterday is the reiteration of the buy. That's what was moving it, because didn't see a whole lot of other things yesterday as far as news went. I mean, they do have this offering news that toward the end of January. So they are going to be raising capital, or they have raised it. They closed that offering now, so it looks like they have more cash, which is fine because they lose about $2 million a quarter. So we'll see if that's going to be enough for them. I don't have any news on this one, so let's just look at some levels.
Yeah.
This is something we created before.
And real quick here, I basically did some napkin math to help you here because we do have the data points here. Short interest of 102.32 thousand versus a float of 4.66 million. That gives me a short interest percentage of about 2.2%. You can see that was fairly in line outside of the last outlier read that we had here. That short interest was almost 10x. So that actually jives pretty well with the percentage also. So it looks like these numbers are in here. It looks like just shy of just over 2% of the float shorted. So, okay, here's your chart.
Yeah, and we did trade this one previously, I think as early as end of January, like on the 24th, I think is when we may have traded this. So those levels that we were looking at that day are going to be relevant to today. We are at 390 right now, so we are beneath all the levels that I have. We have this consolidation from about the back half of December to the front half of January that I'd be a little bit concerned about the price getting through, and that's going to be from about 410 to $5. That 90-cent range there might cause some problems for the price on its way up. But if it does get up there, then we're going to be looking at 610, 685, and 810 as upward resistance areas, in addition to the 65 EMA at 690.
Okay.
Sorry, 650.
Good stuff there. EVAX. EVAX. Okay, next here I've got Zone. This is Clean Core Solutions. I didn't have any news on this, but we'll check it again here. Popped yesterday. Yeah, I got no news here. Let's do a quick look around the horn. Don't have any short. It's got 77,000 shares held short. I don't have a float reading, but I think it might be around, what, 2.5 million thereabout on Clean Core. ZONE. Yep.
Yeah, I have 2.18.
Okay, so I was a little high there, but 2.18. Okay, this is cleaning products. What do you make of this? Anything?
I didn't
25%.
Yeah, I didn't look at this one this morning. I mean, is this something that's just started run recently? Let's take a look at the.
No, it popped in the after hours yesterday. It's come in a little bit here today, but still holding higher.
Where is this company located? I don't have a really good read on their financials. Do you?
No, let me see.
Looks like insider buy back in November. I don't know if that's really. I mean, it's 10,000 shares, but at 212, it's not a whole lot of money.
I have them. I have their corporate office street address in Omaha, Nebraska.
Okay. All right. Well, that answers that question. So small float, cleaning products, running on what seems like no news. When do you see anything on any reason why this is?
No, I don't see. I don't see any fresh news here. That's what I was just kind of wondering.
Looks like this could be a reversal or low RSI play. Looking at the daily chart here, the candle that we have right now looks to be kind of like a hammer. Maybe a little bit large on the head of the hammer, but it's got the formation, and that was yesterday. So we could be reversing here off that low. It's not super low RSI. It was just under 40, but it does look like a bit of a reversal candle. So I'm just wondering if this is some kind of technical bounce.
This 120 to 140 area really looks to be a pretty decent support level. I know we've recently broke away from that. Looks like we're pretty much right back to that area here. So, okay, we'll see if we get anything on Zone, but that's what we got here. That's what we were able to dig up.
Yeah, and if we are going to trade up to this, we still have a number of daily EMAs to get through. We're kind of a little bit below the VWAP right now, and the price action kind of not looking the greatest in the free market. So hopefully this will start to pick up, but the volume isn't really that great right now. Yeah, I mean it's more than what it's traded on average, but we're only 1.24 million shares traded in the regular session, so that's about half, a little more than half of the free float.
Yeah, I like some of the other movers that we've taken a look at here a little bit more. We'll see how this one shakes out. Next I have on the list, this is one that's currently moving. Looks like we just got this PR not long ago. This is ticker GCTK. GCTK, that's GlucoTrack. GlucoTrack announces successful completion of its first human clinical study of continuous blood glucose monitor. So this is another one of those medical devices. I know the medical device theme was something that you were talking about, 13 here. The stock popping up just about 60% on this piece of news. Excuse me. Short interest here as of our last read, which was fairly recent. 10% of the float shorted with only 1 day to cover. Float here, this one's much thicker than some of the ones that we trade recently. 151.43 million shares in the float on this one.
They have announced that they are going to do a reverse split, a 1-for-20. They announced it on January 30th. Let me see when this is supposed to occur. Today.
So this is trading post split right now?
Yeah, I think that's why we had the news, the trading halted, news pending. I mean, that would be my assumption, because you look at back here on Thursday, January 30th.
Bingo.
And they said it was going to be today. So that must be why it's going here. So there you are, folks. It's going to be reduced from 155 and 491,000 so on shares to now down to 7,774,000 shares. So big reduction. Going to make it easier to trade. So that's probably why we're seeing this price action we're getting right now. I don't know if I'll have levels for this that'll work. You see what I have in my broker here.
This stock printed a low of 5 cents yesterday, so that reverse split coming at a good time here. Getting some action, in this.
It's I see that it's moving in pro, but on my broker it says that it's halted.
That's interesting. In my broker, I actually see prints. I see time and sales flowing right now.
I see the time and sales going. Maybe this is just something with my broker, but
yeah, I was going to say I can confirm that it's not halted.
That's weird.
At least at the moment. Okay, well there you go. GCTK glucotrack reverse.
And it's
split.
likely, and yes, exactly. It likely has to do with reverse split. Probably why my broker's acting up, but we'll see.
Okay,
there's other stuff to trade.
There we go. Let's see. We covered Zone, QNTM, BLCN, EVAX. Palantir is making its way onto the movers list. Oh my God, did we really print 105? Looks like we printed 105s here in the pre-market. Palantir. The stock still up 22.5% post earnings.
Wes, for GCTK, I'm just reading what their PR said. I didn't do the math myself. I'm just reading from the source. So if they got that float wrong, then that's on them.
Okay.
15 minutes. What are we going to do?
We got plenty of time. There are a couple of more movers that I wanted to go over here. Yes, we could do. I wanted to go over AMOD and IVVD. These were the last two that I had on the list here. AMOD, Alpha Modus Holdings. Alpha Modus Holdings shares are trading higher after the company announced it filed a patent infringement lawsuit against Walgreens.
Uh-oh.
So there you go. This caused the stock to spike here. I guess we went it was high as 374. We came off there. Again, quick look around the horn here. Boy, we got no readings here. Very minimal short interest. 21,000 shares held short here. I have no float reading on this. You guys will have to help me out if you have a float.
7.6 million.
Okay, so that short interest that we just talked about is pretty negligible if we're going against 7 million share float stock here. That is in the range that we talk about recently. Okay, Alpha Modus files patent infringement lawsuit against Walgreens, claiming Walgreens infringed on the company's AI-driven retail technology.
They
somehow, even with this patent infringement, they got AI into it.
Yep, they managed to force it on in there. And the other thing is that they estimate that it's the damages are an estimated 500 million. So that's what they're going to likely file. $500 million. Good luck, Walgreens.
Okay.
I don't know what else to say. I mean, that company has not been, it has been getting it's W, right? Or is it
WBA, Walgreens Boots Alliance?
Yeah, wasn't this one like one of the ones that's been getting hammered over the past year? Yeah. So they were just starting to, WBA was just starting to look like they were on the mend. And this is probably like the last thing that they need. I mean, Walgreens looks like it's really starting to turn around, but until we fill that gap, I'm not sure about this one, especially with that lawsuit. We'll see what happens with that, but that's WBA that was just hammered over this. It's been hammered over the past decade.
It's worth mentioning here real quick. Actually, in the PR, it goes on to say, meanwhile, Walgreens finds itself entangled in another legal dispute with Cooler Screens, recently filing a $200 million lawsuit against the pharmacy giant over alleged contract breaches related to digital smart screens deployed by Color Screens. So this is not even the first legal battle that Walgreens is engaged in right now. And furthermore, you might be able to draw, if we hear about what happens with this lawsuit, you might be able to infer what happens with the lawsuit for ticker AMOD. So, okay, that's what's going on with this one. Interesting.
Great job correlating that there together, comparing the two situations about looking at what it could happen with AMOD. That's good.
Yeah, that might give us a tip. Okay, last one here that I wanted to go over real quick is ticker IVVD. Then we'll go ahead and take whatever tickers you folks want to take a look at from the chat here. Ticker IVVD, the Inviviad. Am I butchering that? Inviviad. I give it a shot. Invivid. Okay, there we go. That actually sounds a lot better than what I was just doing there. So we'll go with that.
I think they were trying to get trading.
Yeah, they definitely were. I mean, look, you throw Y's in there, you're trying to get cute. I get it. Anyway, Invivid shares trading higher. H.C. Wainwright and Company reiterated a buy on the stock. Did they give a price target there? Yes, they did. $10 price target here. Stock's $1.28 right now. It is up 20%. It's up 20 cents. So it's really kind of holding here. And yesterday, looks like midday, we actually had what is this? This was a trading idea. Okay. Invivid shares see volume to the upside as traders circulate a Martin Shkreli, the pharma bro, post on X saying, I like IVVD. Trading below cash, contrarian COVID pick. Surprised to hear COVID was a massive disease. 59,000 deaths, 800,000 hospitalizations in 2024. Far from the highs, thank God, but we still need drugs for it. So it looks like Martin was tweeting about this company yesterday. That was notable enough to move it. Now you have Wainwright this morning reiterating a buy with a $10 price target. That's why this stock is moving. Here's why we saw it move yesterday. So we're actually able to, did we lose 13? Oh, that's right. He had the blue screen there. We'll go ahead and bring him back on. You good, dude?
Yeah, that was the instability I was talking about. So get ready for that for the remainder of the day until I get it fixed.
I am ready. Good luck with the BIOS flash there. So anyway, I don't know what time you dropped off at there. So real quickly here, IVVD, Pharma Bro Martin Shkreli tweeted about this yesterday. That's why we saw the movement here yesterday. The stock, by the way, before yesterday, the stock was 36 cents. So we're up quite a bit from that. But anyway, Pharma Bro tweeted about this yesterday. Looks like it's moving higher here today. Now we've got the Wainwright piece of news with the buy rating and the $10 price target on IVVD. Quick look around the horn here. Short interest, 7.97% of the float shorted. That's not a whole lot, but it's something. 2.3 days to cover there. And then the float here, 78.94 million. You got anything on this one?
Yeah, so the float getting pretty close to 80 million there. It's a little heavier than we'd like. Let's take a look at the cash position. Doesn't look like they need to do a capital raise anytime soon, although with the rate they're burning cash, maybe they will. But 106 million in the bank. They're burning between 40 and 60 million a quarter. So that doesn't give them a whole lot of time before they need to raise capital again. And after they do that, they might need to reverse split, especially with this price being so close to 1. If it falls underneath there and is down there for more than 30 days, it's not going to make NASDAQ very happy. So I don't know about this one.
I think he dropped. I think we had another BIOS issue there. We'll get 13 back here in a sec. I think that's what happened. Anyway, we'll see what happens here. IVVD. By the way, I had seen here, Izzy, you had mentioned IVVD has a IVVD, has a $10 and a $9 price target. If we look into that real quick here, D. Boral Capital is the other firm here that has the $9 price target. But when we look at the Wainwright price target, this was actually lowered to $10 from $15 in November of last year. Okay, so midway, right before Thanksgiving there, Wainwright went from 15 to 10. Today, we're getting news that they're maintaining that 10. To me, that's a nothing burger. Also worth mentioning that around Thanksgiving last year, Morgan Stanley, which is going to be a more reputable house than Wainwright, they lowered their price target from $9.50 to $3.55. Okay, so just a range of those price targets, 355 from the reputable house, then 9 and 10 from the less reputable. I don't mean for that to sound like an insult, but it is what it is. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the stocks that you folks want to take a look at. I see Jay, good morning. Great to see you mentioning Root here. Root, I thought I threw it Oh, I see. You threw it, as in you throw a ball. I threw it in my don't trade account with IBM and a few others here. Okay. 13 is back. Welcome back. Real quick here. Crow, I know that you were saying here, let me follow this conversation here. Jay, you were mentioning that there's been a nice couple of weeks for Root here. This seems to trade with Carvana, which we've talked about before. Crow saying, Jay Rice, tell me about it. I don't mention it anywhere because no one seems interested. It's one of the harder stocks to trade here, I feel like, Crow. Let me know if Jay or Crow, if you guys have any. Jay, it sounds like this is in your no trade portfolio, so I'm not sure if you do trade this. Let me know, though, if you have any tips on trading this one.
Yeah, I think when I was trying this as well, the spread was just a little scary.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's multiple dollars in some cases.
Yeah, but with these issues I'm having with stability, I'm probably just not going to trade today. It'd be a good idea not to. But I'm still going to hang around.
Let me ask you: does it crash your whole computer, or is it just the video?
It's the I get the Windows blue screen. So
oh my goodness. Okay.
Yeah. I'll figure it out, folks. It's I've been doing this for a long time. I'll figure it out.
That's how it goes sometimes with PCs that you build yourself. Okay, I'd like to know any tips you have on this. Jay's saying it's thin. It is indeed thin. It's one of the reasons that it's very difficult to trade. Let me know though if you have any tips for that, or if you have any targets and spots. That would be interesting too. Diamond Hotline asking for levels on IVVD. We can absolutely take a look at that here. First one definitely is going to be 140. We've kind of banged against that here in the pre-market. And I also want to identify some levels from yesterday. It does look like we're 115, 116 is acting as support here today, but I'd actually back that down to 110. This is going to represent the intraday high and the after hours highs yesterday on IVVD. I wouldn't want to see it really break beneath that. I think you could probably accelerate to some of these other levels. I think if you break that 110, you're probably going back to penny stock territory in relatively short order. We do have some support here off the 65 EMA on the 5-minute at 124. VWAP's at 129. The price is right above that, so we probably want to hold those here in the near term. Let me take a look and see if we have any other levels on this one that we can clearly identify. This 145 to 150, maybe 145, 147. This would be another upside level. 13, you got any levels on this one?
Yes. Let me see if I can find those without crashing my computer again. Let's see. This is IVVD. All right. So we've almost hit the 200 EMA on the daily. That would be at 116. I'm sorry. No, we passed through. I'm looking at yesterday's candle. So the next level I have here, it looks like there's a consolidation between 160 and 190 that could be a little bit of an issue for the price on its way up, and then $2. So I would just look at levels from there, especially that 165 area. That looks like that could be a real nasty area of a rejection. So 165, 190, $2. Those are the levels I see here for IVVD.
Okay, perfect. Let me know what other stocks you folks want to take a look at. I saw AZTR getting mentioned here in the chat. I don't know how much there is to cover here. This is just a penny stock that's up 86% here today. I'll tell you this one, or I'll tell you this right here. I'm definitely avoiding this one here today. I don't see any news on this. Looks like yesterday morning, they announced that they were going to present at an investor conference. That's February 10th. So that's not happening here today. So that might be your next catalyst here. February 10th, 3:45 p.m. Eastern time. This company is going to report. I don't really see anything else driving this here. Maybe this is just kind of continuation from the run it made in the after hours yesterday. I'm going to avoid this one. Yeah.
When did you say that that conference was? What time?
3:45 p.m. February 10th.
Okay, so you don't have to get into this one and hold over the weekend in order to try and trade that news. That's going to be later on in the day, so you have plenty of time to make a decision during the regular session on.
Yeah, and just for clarity there, that February 10th is Monday, right? So that's going to be the Monday after the Super Bowl, when no one really cares about that stuff. They just care about the Super Bowl.
Speaking of Super Bowl, have you talked about DraftKings lately?
No, let's do that next here, because I've already ignored Danny once and I don't want to do it again. Otherwise, she's going to put me in the hurt locker. Danny here wanted to know about ALCE. So this is Alternus Clean Energy, another penny stock here. I will probably avoid this one. Boy, not been great. This actually looks like whatever happened here on January 2nd looks like this created a bunch of bag holders here. Let's see if there's anything that we can discover here from the news.
Pretty sure I remember this popping up on the 2nd.
2.25 million private placement January 24th. Let me go back to the 2nd there and see if I can figure out what that news was. I don't see any news for that day. January 8th, Wednesday, construction of a solar project in Italy, expected to generate $2 million annually, 80% EBITDA margin, completion by mid-2026. Don't see anything else fresh in here. Files to sell units. That was January 27th. No amount given.
Yeah,
Danny, I'll be honest. I don't have a whole lot on this. Why is this float $7 million here? Why is this company? It looks like it's just in real bad shape. It's got to be something with the financials, right?
Balance sheet does not look good at all. They have a lot of debt coming up.
Yeah,
32 million over the next year, and the company's not raking it in really.
Nope. Those long-term liabilities. Yeah, I guess it's just kind of a rough position here. Danny, let me know if there's anything else that you have on this one. I would stay away from this. I don't see anything here.
There is an interesting new piece of news here from January 27th. They filed to sell units. I haven't read this yet, but whenever they're filing to sell something, that's usually a sign that they're trying to raise capital and get rid of assets or segments that are not profitable, or they're eating cash. So that might be something that bears with watching if this is what you're trading or investing in. I don't know enough about this company, but that's a little bit of a piece of interesting news that I'd look into, what they're trying to sell.
VLCN here looking like this is setting up to move through the VWAP here.
I didn't hear your bell. We are open.
Yep. I'm not sharing that sound. You should not have heard that. But here we go on VLCN. Watch this through 6. Might try a little bit here. Come on, let's see if we can front run and push through that 6 and then 604. There we go. 610 highs. One more push. Give me one more. Bang, bang, bang.
Nice.
All right.
Well done.
This actually might keep going here.
Yeah.
I felt so 13. So real quickly there, yesterday, I definitely felt slow. I felt one step slow all day yesterday. Today, I really wanted to turn that around. This actually might halt here, 641 if this holds. I'm going to be out of it long before that halt. Oh my, here we go. VLCN, who called that one? Crow? Right out of the open here. You guys were on top of it. Sorry, 13.
No, I'm just saying, well done. You guys nailed that one right out of the gate here. Retook VWAP, making its way up to the 675 area where that had the level marked out. And you can see in the pre-market, that's where it was getting rejected. So when we unhalt here, we could either blast right over that on its way up to 745, or we come right back in. But at this stage, it looks like we're going higher.
Okay, I'm out of it, at least for right now. We'll check back in here when that unhalts. That is halted as of right now. Or Alpha saying, wow, the delay is real. Man, try to refresh, set the stream to high quality. We have no delay set on here. It's going to be internet connection dependent. I'm sorry about that, man. I know how frustrating that can be.
QNTM trying to decide what it's going to do here, either go higher and recapture VWAP, or go lower and break through some of these EMAs. Very, very neutral candle right now. Hasn't decided what it's going to do.
QNTM looks like it tried to go to that VWAP there. Didn't have the push above that VLCN did. IVVD, this moved through the VWAP. Watch that 140. That was going to be the high end of the pre-market there. Looks like that's getting tested. Palantir here, I know everyone's interested in this. Looks like 104 was the high there. We backed off that. On the 5-minute chart here, does look like we held that 65 EMA there. That was at 101.33.
Bitcoin with a big candle moving up through 100,000 again.
All right, you guys reporting the delay. I will report that to the. I'll see if there's anything that we can do, but that we might be out of luck there.
Yeah, Diamond has traded on VLC. It just took a few seconds. It was awesome. Breaking it, so oh, there it goes. Yeah, but that 145 area, that's or that level, that's the pre-market price I have from 440 this morning. QNTM still hasn't decided what it's going to do. Still a neutral candle. MACD also not crossing yet. Hasn't decided what that's going to do. Careful with QNTM.
Real quick here, Diamond Hotline saying, Ryan, your trade on VLCN took just a few seconds. Yeah, a lot of these scalps do, and which is one of the reasons why I can't set up all of the things for you when it's happening in the moment. But now that it's over, let's review real quick. We had talked about VLCN in the open, so this is one of the stocks that we, what?
Sorry, I just wanted to throw out the Rigetti.
Okay, let me just finish here real quick.
Yeah.
VLCN, we actually had this one on the list. So this is one that we know what the catalyst is here. We know what the movement is here. We're anticipating some type of movement. So when we actually held the pullback here and we started to trade back up and then took out these candles here, to me that signaled, hey, interest is here. Buying volume is stepping in. We're about to take out the VWAP. I actually front ran this trade. Normally what I'd like to do is see a cross of that VWAP, but because I was so eager to do this, I actually bought this. 597 was my buy price, went right through 6, right through the VWAP, and I sold into the momentum move. The fill I got there was 630. So you're looking at just a 30+ cent trade there. And we weren't even in that for very long at all. That's how we do with some of these scalps. They're going to be real quick. I'll let you know if I take a longer time frame trade where I hold it for longer there. And I also understand with the delay that we're talking about, that actually might not be a value add, and I'm sorry about that. That is definitely a bummer. It's one of the reasons why me and the chat, we're gonna keep trying calling the setups, not necessarily the trade itself. Try and give you as much time as possible. 13, I'm sorry for rambling there.
Sure. No, it's okay. We are getting some big moves here in some of these names like Rigetti, RGTI. Also saw that Red Book came out 5.7 versus 4.9 prior. That's pretty sizable leap almost there. But yeah, Rigetti, this got a nice push up out of the open here, almost hit 15. Now it's starting to what looks like it could be putting in a bit of a bull flag or bull pennant. I think this thing wants to go higher before we start seeing some weakness. Have the VWAP at 1448. So if we do go down a little bit, I'd expect there to be some support from VWAP there. Seeing some other software companies move up as well. I think that theme we identified is correct. Sorry, go ahead.
Real quickly here, EVAX, this sold right out of the open, just recaptured that 65 EMA on the 5. Now, we're really unable to push through 4, but we have a very similar setup to what we just saw here in VLCN, right? We dipped a little bit. Now we've recaptured that. This does look like this is going to try 4 and then maybe 415. Remember, on VLCN, it was 6 and then 606 or 604. So we'll see if this ends up pumping here. Did not get through 4. I'd watch this 4 level. That the next stop might be the VWAP there. You said AZTR?
Yeah, that's
penny stock. Yep.
Yeah, it's trying to push up. Just mentioning it because I had it on our. We talked about it. This one trying to get back up to the pre-market high of 61 and 88. Getting pushed back down around the 58 cent level. It's going to need a little bit more volume to get through that. Had some good volume out the open here, but that kind of went away. So that would be what I would be watching for if I was trading this, is a big old jump in volume to help take it through that pre-market high. Okay,
Palantir looks like this might try and go here. Might actually have a gap and go if we take out this high here. Ticker PLTR. Lion here saying, I sold my Palantir calls, kept one contract on for a runner there. That'll get you a register ring. Ready to go. Great trade early on here. Ticker PLTR. This actually looks like this might take a run here.
We'll get it up. Okay, so EVAX not able to quite recapture some of these EMAs yet.
Real quick here. Amazon dipped a little bit. Izzy, what do you think? Amazon dip here and move higher? Do we have another setup here where if we hold this area, maybe we take out 240, another $1.50 higher here on Amazon? Let's take a look at your Uber as well.
Yes, Wiss, I am able to trade that.
Okay, the Uber already moved here. Izzy, grats on that one.
IVVD now searching for some of the pre-market lows.
QNTM rejected by the VWAP, pretty clear here. We'll see if the 484 level supports it. That's what, 60 cents from where we're at. Sorry, 13. What ticker was that?
Shoot, I think that was, hold on. Let me pull it back up. That was IVVD.
IVVD. That was the one that Shkreli tweeted about yesterday. 140 still seems to be the high end that we can't get over yet on that. VLCN still halted, by the way, folks.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about IVVD here. There may be some kind of a trend here that it's getting support from. I'm drawing it from the low at 705 through the low of 905 through the low we just put in here with this current 5-minute candle. Wondering
let me see if I can duplicate that.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh yeah, we can.
So I'm just kind of waiting to see if we come off that level a little bit, because this could also be an indication of where this could break down. Like if we lose this trend line, then maybe we just stay away from this for now.
Spotify, this actually looks like this might trade higher here. They had earnings here this morning, better than expected Q4 financial results. I'd watch this 609 area here on Spotify. I think if it breaks this, you might be able to trade this higher. Ticker SPOT on the back of the earnings. Actually, looking at the volume there, we've traded about half of the average volume already. I expect this to go above average later on today. Well, I would watch that SPOT here. Acon closing the gap to that 921 VWAP. And IVVD still holding that area, that 13 outlined.
Yeah, that GCTK, that's starting to move up now.
Here, let me bring that up. Let me put that on screen for you, and I'm going to step away for just one sec. BRB.
Okay. And hopefully while he's gone, we don't have any stability issues, but this is moving up to the pre-market high of 214. It needs to get over 2. And on the way up, there's going to be a number of sellers in the way of that progress. I see a high concentration of sellers around 194, 195, as well as some more at $2 exactly. Yes. Now it is, GC. I think you mean GCTK, right? GCTX is, I'm not sure if that's another one, or that's Giga Cloud Tech. I don't see that really. Maybe it's reversing. I don't know if this is if this is a big mover right now. I don't even think we covered this. I'm sorry, that's GCT. GCTX. Yeah, I don't have anything for GCTX. I do think you mean GCTK. So anyway, this is starting to push up. We're back on GCTK now. Starting to push up, holding its VWAP, but the upper shadows that it's putting in here are a little concerning. Don't want to see another 5-minute candle doing the same thing that these are right now, because that could indicate that this is going to reverse and go down. Just need to wait and see if we get that. Holding VWAP, so that's the encouraging part, but got to be patient with these upper shadows. So you see what I'm talking about there with the wicks that we're putting in on these recent candles out of the open.
On GCTK, right?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
That's the concern I was just outlining before you came back on. If we get one more candle that looks like this, it could mean that the price is going to come back in under VWAP.
VLCN open, higher, halted.
There it is.
And in fact, this was open for 17 seconds, folks.
That did exactly what I said.
Guys, so Diamond, I appreciate you being kind earlier and saying that my very, very quick trade was a good one. I'm happy that I was able to get some profits, and I'm 1 for 1 on the day. But this is now $1 plus higher than where I sold it. So again, here, just kind of reviewing the trade now that we have more information. One of the things that I've definitely struggled with on some of these day trades, I almost want to call it greed. I'm not leaving a trailer on, right? I'm buying the position at a certain spot, and then I'm exiting the entire position into strength when I'm seeing it. That was that push up on VLCN as we crossed the VWAP there. But honestly, what I should be doing is leaving a piece of that on. If let's say and it can be a small piece, right? Let's say if I buy 1,000 shares, leave 100 shares on. You buy 500 shares, leave 100 shares on as the trailer. Should have done that here in VLCN for sure. This now popping higher, and I'm not in it. So my sell, my exit price looked to be a little too low on this one.
And we still might get one more move up out of this halt and into the next one. And if we halt again out of this one and into another one, then I think that's going to be the one you don't want to be in.
Okay.
We typically see this is something that we've noticed sometimes where you get these halts to the upside. It's usually the third halt tends to be the one that will get some selling or some pullback once that unhalts. So that's going to be something I'll be watching for. We could come out of this halt, push up to into the 9 handle, and then halt again, and that would be the one that you don't want to be in.
Couple of comments here. Felipe, Ryan's tilted. If Ryan gets tilted when Ryan has positive P&L, then tilt me up, baby. Let's do that all day, every day. At the end of the day, money is going to tell the story there. DS saying it's fear and not greed. It's the fear to lose. So this is actually an interesting discussion point here. The goal here of the trade is, I think this is going to be a quick move and I want to capture it. The fear to lose, the pushback that I would give you on this is that I'm not actually losing. I think what you're saying here is that you're selling all of it because you don't want to lose some of the profits that you've made. But that can be solved just by putting a stop at break even, right? I actually think that what's going on here is that I do need to be a little bit more greedy, right? I need to leave a trailer on more often than not so I can capture any of this secondary movement, not just the initial push that we're targeting there. This is an interesting one. I didn't actually lose on it, but I know what you're saying. It's losing some of the profits there. Diamond saying, please do not regret. You did excellent. I don't regret it. But one of the things that's going to be very important for trading is always analyze what you've done. Always figure out if there's a way that you could have done it better. My takeaway from this one trade here today, I could have done this better. And I would be lying to myself if I didn't admit that.
GCTK, not quite bearish yet, still pushing up. We had a little bit of recovery in that last candle, and now we're going higher in this current candle. Still looking for 214, the pre-market high. Just has to get through that concentration of sellers at 2. It looks like we just got a large bid to help lift that up. So we could see this really move here, folks. Now they're eating that bid.
Good stuff there on GT or GCTK. I'm going to screw that one up here today. Palantir, we did break those pre-market highs, 105, looking like we're going towards 106. I didn't take this one. I just feel like it's just so expensive. It's stopping me from owning it.
And IVVD, that broke beneath that trend line, went lower, and now it's trying to back test that trend line. I would expect that trend line is going to provide resistance, and it might be up here trying to recapture that for the next 5-10 minutes. But I don't like this formation. I think this could end up going lower unless we recapture this trend line.
I don't like the volume here.
Yeah,
that's the other thing. The formation is one thing, but the volume is also telling the story. Lion here saying, leave a trailer, Ryan. Sometimes it will take a trailer full of green. Well, exactly. This is how we can actually make this better. VLCN is open?
Yeah.
Okay. Looks like initially we went lower here. Watch that high. 772 is going to be that high print there. Let's see what we've got in the broker here. 773 is, I actually see volume traded at 773. Ton of volume there at that 772 mark where we halted. Coming in now, VLCN.
Well,
I think it stays as long as it doesn't break this 685. You do have a chance of going higher here.
Yeah,
I'm not in this.
I'd be done if it starts to halt. Because the next halt is going to be, I think, is going to be the one that's that we're not going to want to be in, unless it goes down. Then that could be maybe another opportunity. But I'd be careful.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm. Trying to get back up to 775. And through it.
And bang, right through 8-year high print there. So it did take that. Now, do they pull it here?
It looks like
Took a new high
to.
here. Do they pull it? Let's see. Again, I'm not in this, just to be clear. I already traded this once today. I'm not doing it again right now. I'm just watching the action.
No point in giving back your gains.
That's the last. So that you want to talk. So that just kind of go back to what DS was saying there. DS, I guess now you could say that it's fear, right? Because I don't want to give back the gains that I've already made, which is one of the reasons why I'm not taking the trade now. That would be fear, wouldn't it? Fear of giving back those gains, fear of losing the gains that we've already made here today. I mean, part of me thinks that that's smart. We'll see if this ends up rolling here. I'll tell you what, the volume is looking real good on this. So maybe this isn't over yet. Again, area to watch, 685 on the downside and now $8 on the upside.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting support from the pre-market highs. That was
there's your 685 break. VWAP at 631. Halted. This is going to halt to the downside. What did you just say? The next halt was going to be the one to the downside? Was that?
Well, I said the next halt is the one you're probably not going to want to be in, because once we unhalt, it could be
okay.
It could be that. So, I mean, I was expecting another green candle out of that halt we just recently got. And, we did print higher, but we also pulled. So for me, I mean, obviously I wouldn't be in this anymore after that 8 print, but this halt may go lower and fill that gap on the way down, but there's that potential where it could reverse as well. I don't want to leave that off the table, but I think you're going to see more downside first out of the halt. Now, QNTM, this is trying to break its VWAP. It's been trying since the session opened. Might have a shot here, but you look at the rate. You look at the pre-market. Every time this has gotten above the VWAP, it just gets pushed right back down. So it seems like if we do get back above VWAP and start closing above it, that could make this thing really take off. But it's just not looking good at this point. Maybe we just need to eat some more sellers.
Robert here. Robert here mentioning Reddit. And Mike, you wanted to take a look at MicroStrategy. Let's do that here. We actually haven't taken a peek at MicroStrategy in a bit. Reddit still crushing here. Remember, Red Dog this morning saying you only need a couple of stocks to change your lives. Reddit was one of them. We talked about this around its IPO. I had this thing pegged totally incorrect. Thought this was going to go lower. Here we are at 200 plus on Reddit. Unreal. 8 days for those earnings. This continuing to trade higher here. Look at this move in Reddit. Netflix 1,000 as well. Okay. 1,006 your high print there. Let's take a look at MicroStrategy though.
I don't know what to think about this monthly Reddit chart.
You want to start with that? We can start with the monthly chart here. It's straight vertical. Like this is just
parabolic, and we don't even have an RSI read because it hasn't been 14 months yet. But this is the kind of thing that just makes me scratch my head and be like, okay, when are we coming in?
Yeah, this move here, right? We talked about this right around the IPO here. This breakout from 70. Holy smokes, 210. I was wrong on this. I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah,
I got this one wrong.
Maybe when they report earnings next week. It'll be a little bit of a dose of reality, but on the other hand, it could just rip to 300.
Unreal. Okay, you wanted to take a look at MicroStrategy. By the way, good morning, Mike. I'm not sure if I said good morning to you here today. MicroStrategy, they report earnings tomorrow after the market closes. So here we are, just shy of 350 here. We're actually under the 20-day. We're under the 50-day. Both of those moving averages really not far from where we're at here. I think this head and shoulders formation is pretty much done. I'm going to go ahead and actually remove this from the chart. I don't think we need this here anymore. Bitcoin, just a quick look at Bitcoin here. It was a little bit weaker overnight. We did pop higher than 101,000 on the futures chart. Saw the news here from the producer, Trump's crypto czar to hold a press conference today. I guess we'll see what comes out of that press conference. I don't know if the press conference itself is bullish or bearish. I guess we'll see what comes out of that press conference. But MicroStrategy here, kind of trading sideways. What are the options pricing in on this one? I don't have the story here. Let me see if I can calculate that myself real quick. I think we lost 13 here temporary. We'll get him back in just a sec. Grab my calculator here. Let's see. What else did you... Day trader, you got Reddit at 31 on the IPO and held. I mean, that is a massive, massive win. What's the trade plan there on that? What's the exit strategy? Holy smokes, that is a massive, massive win. Okay, expected move on MicroStrategy till Friday is $31. Okay. Hope they didn't peg the dollar to Bitcoin. Sorry, I'm just trying to catch up on all of Mike's comments here real quick.
It looks like QNTM still trying to recapture that VWAP.
Okay, you said MicroStrategy reports today. Let's give it a look if you can. So one of the big level that I would be looking for to get taken out here on MicroStrategy is still going to be this 380-340. We talked a little bit about some of those moving averages there. Price is just about $350. A $33 move puts us right to that 380-340. You were saying that the implied move between now and Friday was what, $31? So all that seems reasonable here. On a bullish report, I'd want to see this take out 383. If it's rough with all the talk of some of the offerings in there, I could really see this moving down here. I actually see it maybe below that 290 area. Mike, I'd like to know what kind of targets you have for that. I'm assuming that you're trading this to the long side. Nope. Man, poor guy. Poor guy. Computer not giving him trouble. That's not a trade. That's an investment. April Fool. Were you talking about Reddit? Just the huge Reddit chart there? Okay, VLCN. Interesting. This did come all the way back into that VWAP, and now it's bouncing back in the range there from that 685 up to $8 here. VLCN, this might not be done. Volume telling the story here that this might not be done. VLCN continuing to bounce here off of the VWAP. You good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I saw you moving there. I was like, I think it's okay, but I didn't hear anything, so just making sure.
Yeah, just kind of flabbergasted at all this craziness that's going on with me, and now my
and there he goes, 13. I tell you what, computer issues are a B. Let's pray for 13. Hopefully he gets that. Hopefully he gets that fixed. You want to take a look at DraftKings? Yes, we can do that. Absolutely. Jolts in a few minutes. It can move the market. We'll keep our eyes on that here too. By the way, speaking of the market, S&P 500 here just shy of 600. Currently holding 599. Actually trying to go higher here. We'll see if that print takes us higher. Fairchild saying, "Isn't that the recent PC build?" Yes, he was saying. I think he needs to update his BIOS. I think that's all that's going on. I'm sure he'll be able to do that here today. That data we're expecting in 3 minutes, right? Pretty sure. Yeah, I don't have that data print yet. And we'll see what happens when that actually happens here. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other movers here. So VLCN back up to the top end of the range. Is anyone still trading VLCN? Do you guys think this one goes higher here? Maybe an 8 breakout on that. We'll see if we end up getting that. QNTM. This really hasn't done anything yet. In fact, on the 5 minutes, really kind of shows you that it's used the VWAP as resistance pretty much all day here. And the volume really needs to turn around. That needs to turn into buying volume here. Palantir continuing its move higher. Look at that break of that 105. Higher we go here. Looks like the high print there, 107, almost 106.97 or 91 here on Palantir. The gap and go looks like this might be working here. Jane, I'm still in VLCN. Nice. Tia Party in and out already on QNTM. Small profit of 20 cents per share, but I won't risk it. Such a big rejection. I'm passing those pre-market levels. Lion, I'm going to buy MicroStrategy 350 calls expiring in February 14th. So that's next week's 350 calls on MSTR. They're $22.30 per contract. You know, maybe we'll ask Anne-Marie about MicroStrategy. Maybe we'll ask Anne-Marie about that. He's got to tighten the muffler belt on that computer. LOL. Let's take a look at Fubo. I know, Izzy, you were on that one earlier here. Fubo, big move above those pre-market and after-hours highs there, 428, 430 there. Fubo, let's see, put in a high here, 455. We didn't have anything fresh on this. Nope, not at all. What is our short interest on this one? 10%. 1 day to cover here on Fubo. Higher we go. I'll tell you what, that 385 area, this did a really good job holding, and we'll see if we can move back higher here on Fubo. This was a good call earlier. Nice move higher here. Nice volume stick accompanying this. We're flagging up here now. Really 444, maybe even 444. This is the level that we don't want to lose here. Jolts in 30 seconds. We'll be ready for that. Market is at the highs here. S&P futures up near the highs, plus 0.35%. Did we get that print? U.S. JOLTS job openings for December, 7.6 million versus the 8.01 million estimate. The prior read was 8.156 million. Factory orders month over month for December, minus 0.9 versus the minus 0.7 estimate. The prior read was minus 0.4, and that was revised down to minus 0.8. Durable goods, excluding defense, month over month for December, minus 2.4 versus the minus 2.4 estimate. That print was in line. Market higher here. S&P futures trading higher by 18 points. That's 0.3 to the upside. So the market did look like it reacted. It traded up a little bit on that, but it was unable to really move through that 600 level on SPY. So there you go with your JOLTS openings. We got them there. We got that stat there at the bottom of the stream. Higher we go, at least on that initial move. Jay, I'd ask you here, what do you make of that read? Is that a nothing burger? Is that something that's enticing you here? VLCN halted. Oh my God, it broke that 8 by 1 cent and halted there. 801 VLCN. Wild stuff there.
Well, let's see if tightening the muffler belt fixed anything.
I can't believe you heard that. I thought you might be restarting when that happened. I thought that was pretty funny. Muffler belt.
Yeah, added some blinker fluid as well.
18 years ago today, Devin Hester returns the opening kickoff of the Super Bowl for a touchdown. The Bears go on to promptly lose that game.
Oh, wow. I remember that, too. We've had some really nice kickoff and returns over the years.
I was in Indiana. I was surrounded by Colts fans. I was hung over still, even at like 5 p.m. from the party the night before. The Bears start off with a touchdown, and on the very next possession, they pick off Peyton Manning, and I couldn't hold it anymore. 13. I started texting everybody. Oh my God. And by the end of the night, I was crying. That was probably, of all of the instances of where you've made an early shit talking call, that one was probably the biggest wake up call for me. S&P 500 futures here. Oh, what? You're good.
Yeah. That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know why they removed you there. You're still moving around. S&P 500 futures here actually ticking higher a little bit, 0.33%. So this is continuing to move to the upside here. VLCN is still halted. Let's take a look at some of the other moves. QNTM has been a huge disappointment here today. RGLS, maybe if we take out 160 there. EVAX, this has been a bummer. Let's take a look at some of the bigger names here. You guys mentioned that Netflix 1,000 prints that we got earlier. Netflix came off those highs a little bit, lost $1,000. Let's see, what else do you guys have here? You guys are mentioning EVAX was curling. I feel like that was just... It is curling here, I guess. We'll see on EVAX. I don't feel good about this one. I don't feel good about EVAX.
Yeah, still hasn't been able to recapture that VWAP.
Staff Sergeant Ryan asking about Boeing. It's on the back burner. I don't know, man. Boeing, I feel like this is, I don't know if it is on the back burner. I feel like we're talking about airplanes or airplane crashes or maintenance or failures or something almost every day or every other day here. I know, but Boeing, the 50-day moving average looking to cross below the 200 here on the daily chart. So real quick, the 50-day that I have is the yellow line. The 200-day is the blue line that I have. And this actually looks like this is setting up to golden cross as we speak. Like that is literally happening, not today, maybe tomorrow. All right. So we might have a potential golden cross here. 13. I know you and I talk a lot about the death crosses and the golden crosses on some of these daily charts. Boeing here, if we zoom out a little bit, you can see that it's recently done a really good job holding this uptrend that it's made. Now you have the potential golden cross here. I'll tell you what, Staff Sergeant Ryan, maybe I'll swing this long just in your honor. Maybe we'll nibble a little bit here on Boeing calls. What do you say? Let me take a look and price some of these out. You're giving me an idea. The idea here is that, first of all, we've come up off some of these lows. Some of the bad news hopefully is priced in. We've reclaimed the 200-day. We're holding it. Now we're supposed to get a golden cross here. Maybe this sends it up towards the 193, 200 level. It's only 25 points higher than where we're at.
This has been trading in a broadening wedge since December of 2022. So it's still in that broadening wedge. And if we are going to get this golden cross and we are going to see some more upside, that could imply that we're going to see much higher prices if we continue to trade in this broadening wedge.
All right. Well, you know what? I'm doing this just for you, Ryan. I'm doing this just for you. Currently looking at the March 200 calls. March 200 calls. I'm going to try and get filled. I'm going to nibble on a starter position here. See if I get filled 135. Okay, there we go. Just so filled a starter position here. It's small, but we filled a starter position here. Long Boeing, ticker BA. We're using the March 200 calls. Thesis here is for a hold higher above this 200-day and then a golden cross to take us to much higher prices. Ryan, locked and loaded, buddy. Locked and loaded. Nice to have you here, by the way. Not on the back burner anymore. We put this shit right on the front burner. We're going to cook on 3 burners, in fact. All right, let me go back to the main workspace here. Let's take a look at some of the smaller stocks that are moving around. Thank you for that mention there. With you, Ryan. Let's see. Long and strong. We'll see. All right.
Space names are looking good today.
You think Palantir is helping with that at all or no?
I don't think that that's really related to the space theme. I think it's just, a risk on kind of day. I mean, Bitcoin is moving up, markets are moving up. So, and we have all those quantum plays we started to see move again as well. So wouldn't be surprising if we looked at like the nuclear and drone stocks and saw that they were having a pretty decent day. It just seems like whenever we have that risk on, whenever Bitcoin is starting to move up, if we don't have, those group of 4 themes moving with it, it tends to pick up the next day. Because yesterday the space stocks were still red. Now today they're green. and they're quite green as well. I mean, Black Sky up 13%, ASTS about 9.5%, Sida Space that's up over 8%. So some of these are really having a pretty decent day here.
NASDAQ, by the way, so we're continuing to trade higher here post that Jolts print. SPY here did reclaim 600 there. NASDAQ plus 1% here now as that's continuing to move to the high. Speaking of risk on here, BBAI, is Ryan Milligan here today? I feel like this is a stock that he mentions all of the time, and maybe I was just missing his comments or ignoring him. C-Spot, you had mentioned this one earlier. Will is on this. Shrikar, you're on this. Robert is on this. Guys, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I think I got lost in the sauce when I was looking at Boeing. You folks are all over this. I don't see Ryan. Maybe Ryan's has the day off here today or is not around here today. But good call on all this. BBAI, this was a great move right out of the open, and actually the next leg higher here in a 475 snap to the upside. Good stuff. Let me try to catch up here real quick.
All right. Sorry, folks. Give me 1 second.
You're good. You're good, man. You're dealing with a whole bunch of issues in there. Here,
fantastic.
What's that?
Isn't it fantastic?
No, I mean it's annoying. You have a remarkable disposition, given the fact that your computer is literally shitting the bed on you. I'm frankly impressed with that. Real quick here, just to kind of go back and answer a question. Baznaldo asking what happened with China and Trump. We covered that earlier when we ran down some of the news. Here's an article that does a really good job. Come on, Ryan. Good job summarizing where we're at right now with the tariff tiff. So you check out that article there. That should answer your question on where we're at. BBAI looks like we're testing 5 here. Congrats to any of you BBAI holders. Tony, you wanted to take a look at NVIDIA. NVIDIA is vertical here today. Wow. So what happened here? Okay, so 13, I'm pretty sure you had me draw this line at 117.
Let's see here.
You had said that this was an important support and resistance level going back to June of 2024. It looks like you're right. It looks like we've basically bounced off that level here.
Yeah, and recapture that trend line that I also had you draw yesterday. Because we were, well, not recapture, because we went beneath it yesterday and then we recaptured yesterday. So not a recapture, but we bounced off that trend line yesterday, I guess.
Steve says my Benzinga chart is not live streaming. Steve, try a refresh. Just hit reload in your browser. If that doesn't work, try a cookies clear. The chart should absolutely be updating. Mine seem to be. All of them.
The big question mark for NVIDIA is, can it recapture the 200-day SMA?
Here, let me go to my bigger chart here. We can take a look at that.
If we do not recapture today, it will be the third close in a row beneath it. Just something to look at.
No, absolutely. And kudos to you for bringing this up, because we actually talked about this in happy hour, and I still haven't mentioned it when we were talking about the chart. We had talked recently about the DeepSeek bringing this down to the 200-day. We did bounce, but that bounce was very, very short-lived. Now we've actually lost this 200-day. And when we talk about losing some of these really key support levels, what's going to be even more key is that we recapture these in very short order. So 13, to your point here, this is today would mark the third close below the 200-day. That means that area would turn into even more significant resistance than it already is here. So to your point, we would really want to see this trade back above that 122.82 level. That would help maybe firm this up as support. Now, it's also worth noting that the trend line that we drew going back to what the April low here, April of 2024, we did recapture that, but that's not as meaningful, at least not in my opinion, as this 200-day. I think we really do need to recapture this today, or we might test lower.
Yep, I agree. Because that'll be the third close beneath it, and that's not what you want to see. 3 closes tends to have the next day or the day after get the resolution of that event of not recapturing. So
VLCN.
Oh man.
Out of the halt, another rip. This actually traded above 10. Now it's holding higher. Okay, folks, can I get my shares back now? Jeez, what a move here on VLCN. I think we've clearly identified that one of the things that I need to do here, at least even on some of these scalps, hold a trailer on there. That's my takeaway from today. This indeed is blowing up here. VLCN, congrats to everyone that's trading this here today.
So next level's up. If we, do get some support, I believe if we do get support, it's going to be around 8, where we were topping out before this this gap up here. I do have a 960 marked off, but we're trading beneath that right now. If we popped over and hit 1010, if we do manage to get back over 960, which it looks like we're trying to do right now, I have an upside level of 1150 next. We'll see if that's where this ends up heading.
Okay, 1150. You know what? I'm actually going to mark that on the chart because I suspect that this isn't done. And if we get up there, I want to have that ready.
We don't want a bearish candle up here. So
No.
hopefully, and that's going to then depend on how it closes. We have about 20 seconds left in this candle. So we'll see what we get. But if we have a bearish indicator of or like a reversal candle, like a shooting star that it looks like this is what it could end up being, that might mean lower or more downside ahead.
Indeed. Steve saying, I'm right there with you, Ryan. I past 2 days, I've left huge profits on the table, even if I left a 20% trailer. That's the thing. I'm not upset if trades are working out. But there is a part of me that's like, man, I want to be able to capture some of these bigger moves here. And, Volcon, this is not a stock that I necessarily believe in. Supersonic golf carts. We were making jokes about Sonic, the Hedgehog, the video game character earlier in reference to this. So, it is what it is. You're never going to top and bottom tick things. That I've kind of let go. But there are some little changes that I can make to my strategy that might increase my P&L, and I want to stay on top of that.
Rigetti selling off, this trailing paw. ONDS going up. So look like we're getting some selling in the quantum names and a rise in the drone names.
So an intraday reversal here on Rigetti. This looks like just kind of traders to me. Just kind of looking at the volume, you can clearly see this thing stopped moving past 15. The entire bias shifted to sell here on Rigetti. How are some of the other names doing, like IONQ? I feel like we haven't even checked in on that. IONQ is doing better. This is actually holding higher here so far. QBTS, D-Wave, this actually doing more of what Rigetti is doing, and then QUBT would be the other one. This also doing so. IONQ seems to be the strongest of the group here, unless you count QNTM, because that's up 65%.
QUBT just absolutely getting hammered right now.
VKTX popping on volume. Did we have news here?
Maybe not yet, but somebody knows something. If UUBT keeps going down, we're probably going to hit yesterday's low of 937. Yeah, we're going to hit tomorrow's low. Don't know what it is, but we're going to hit it. Almost said tomorrow. Our cat's kind of hanging in there. Just got support from VWAP.
Does anyone know what's going on VKTX? This looks like news. I don't see anything in the news feed, and I don't have the squawk on.
Is there maybe some broader news about peptides or semaglutides?
That's what I'm kind of looking for here. Pardon me while I look around.
Did RFK say something?
Oh, by the way, VLCN, seeing here from FinTwit, extremely expensive borrow on VLCN. So definitely going to be hard to short.
I wonder if this may just be a technical move. I'm looking at the daily chart. I have the price coming up to a trend line I drew some time ago. Whoa.
Yeah, I don't see anything here on X. I do see some people speculating. Folks I followed for a long time here, VKTX moving, maybe Novartis is looking for deals. We did talk about VKTX being a potential buyout candidate. We were talking about that when the stock was $70. It's cut in half down here at 33. Interesting.
And they do have earnings tomorrow. I was seeing that some folks are mentioning that. I think this could be something more of a technical bounce, just because we had some pretty low RSI, like a low RSI yesterday. And we could be coming off that low RSI today. We did the same thing on January 21st when we were under 30 RSI. We popped back up, tested that trend line, and kind of rode that trend line on the underside, rode it back down to the low RSI again. That's the only thing I can really see, is that this thing just got so oversold that buyers stepped in.
Yeah, you guys are mentioning here, Charlie was squawking this. Charlie was squawking the activity there, right? Seeing a spike in activity, new highs. He's by the way, he's extremely good at that. I've scalped plenty of stocks that Charlie has mentioned. So shout out to Charlie there. Viking to report results tomorrow. So I think he's saying the same thing, right? You're just kind of seeing some trading action here. This is calling out some of the actual trading action. The only catalyst that we see here is they report after the close tomorrow. I don't see any other news here, and I didn't see that I can't verify that on X either. So, okay, maybe just some trading action there. VKTX. Maybe there are people loading up ahead of earnings. What are the options?
The earnings aren't until after the market closes. So
correct, tomorrow.
Yeah. So I mean, maybe you can help me with this. But why would I want to load up on that when I have a whole day to do that tomorrow? I mean, sure, they might be cheaper now. That could be the only thing I could maybe see being the reason to start early. But is there any other reason to jump in?
I mean, maybe they got information. Maybe they're privy to some information here that the rest of us are not. This is what's interesting here is looking at. I'm almost thinking, God, I tell you what, this move really spread the options out. 35.5 calls, 46 by 470.
Those quantum names had a big bounce, a big reversal when we were seeing them sell. They really jumped back up, but still looking a little weak. One software company I've been really surprised by how well it's been doing is BlackBerry. I think this seems to be on an upward trajectory.
Seeing a report here, Trump to speak with Xi on Tuesday. So that's today. We kind of already knew that. Trump is expected to go to the Super Bowl. Okay. I don't know if we can trade anything off that, though. VKTX here still holding higher in the 33 handle. Interesting.
But you guys already talked about how China's already slapping tariffs on us, right?
I'm sorry, you're asking me. I was reading a comment.
Yeah, I was asking if you had talked about the news coming out of the trade war between Trump and Xi. This morning we already got news that they were planning on China was planning on putting on some additional tariffs and some export restrictions.
Yeah, so we did cover that. So really quickly, just to recap what 13 is talking about. On Tuesday, the U.S. government, the decision comes in response to the U.S. government's decision to levy a 10% tariff on all Chinese goods. According to the announcement, the tariffs on the United States are as follows: a 15% tariff on coal and liquefied natural gas, a 10% tariff on crude oil, agricultural machinery, and high displacement vehicles and pickup trucks. Additional tariffs will be imposed on listed U.S. imports on top of existing rates. The current tax exemption and reduction policies will remain unchanged, and the additional tariffs will not be subject to reduction. So there is your tariff news that we covered earlier here today, just kind of recapping those stats. Jay here, real quick, this is what I was hoping for. VKTX, I got stopped out, but as a longtime follower of this, the CEO is really good about not burning cash like some of these other bios. Okay. What do you think about a potential merger?
With who? Or I don't know if it'd be a merger, probably be a takeover.
Just getting bought out.
Yeah,
Producer here, I love what you're cooking back there. Do you think Trump will bump into his arch nemesis Taylor Swift
at the
Super Bowl? I would imagine that those two probably have different suites, and they're probably separated, and there's probably some security, Mike, saying he can't get past her security. Taylor could whoop his ass in a fist fight. Actually, with her being that much younger, that wouldn't surprise me. Taylor doesn't seem like a fighter, though. Okay, that was just Nike that's pulling back here. I don't see anything else pulling.
Well, Bitcoin is starting to, it's underneath 100,000 again.
That did pull back. That did kind of sink there.
Yeah, this did not recapture this trend line that I've got here in Bitcoin after we hit this all-time high. I drew a trend line on the following days, and we have not been, well, it recaptured it on the 29th of January. It held above it the following day and then fell back beneath it on the 31st. That trend line, it's just kind of something I'm keeping an eye on to see if we can get multiple closes above it, because if we cannot, that might be a good sign for us that this is heading lower.
The chat here is absolutely awesome. Fender Fuchs saying a celebrity death match, Trump versus Taylor Swift. I'd watch that. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Danny saying that they could do a halftime show together for YMCA. Can you imagine them singing that together? Oh man. You folks have you guys all have good sense of humor. I love it. I absolutely love it.
Trump and China will come to an agreement, but after how long? It was last time we did this, it was 2 years.
I heard that Taylor Swift was an Eagles fan growing up.
Ugh.
You want to talk about being awkward? Ugh, that's right. Zone, by the way, this is one of the stocks that we covered here this morning. Clean Core. This just losing the VWAP there on volume. Maybe this thing finds some support at 120 to 125, but losing VWAP right there. Let's do another quick check-in here on VLCN.
Yeah, pushing.
This is pushing. This came back in off that last halt and bounced. Again, it used that level there as a potential bounce spot. VLCN, I don't think this is done yet. The volume is contracting a little bit, but I don't think that's enough to end this yet. I'd love to see Xi and Trump in a cage death match. That would be funny.
The greatest cage.
It's the most beautiful cage. I don't do a good Trump impression.
The most beautiful cage ever.
I really don't do a good Trump impression. That might be one to work on.
We need to get Shane Gillis up in here.
He's absolutely hilarious.
He's done the best Trump I've seen so far.
Yeah,
maybe have him and Will Ferrell come on. Will Ferrell can do his Bush. That'd be an interesting conversation between those two.
All right.
About it now. Anyway,
IVVD, Chris, nice buy there at 105. You just kind of bought the plunge there. It looks like it was the middle of the supply zone there. I'm skeptical of IVVD here. This was remember this is on after a huge run too. This was after a tweet storm yesterday from Pharma Bro.
Yeah, so Lion, two things. One, I agree with your first comment. I don't necessarily agree with the second. I don't think they're going to resolve this by Thursday. But your comment about Taylor not caring about politics and she's there for the money. It's interesting you say that because I think that she had a massive hand in the Netflix hosting of the December games where it starred her boyfriend's team, the Chiefs. I think she had a huge hand in that because she's had a lot of pull with Netflix ever since her Eras tour.
Yep.
So I think she had a massive hand in bringing the NFL to Netflix for that game.
Ryan says, I think Shane does a better Trump than Trump. That'd get my vote too, honestly. My husband went to high school with Shane. Was he as funny in high school as he is now? That would be my question. I went to high school with Patrick Stump from Fallout Boy. Really nice guy, actually. Really, really down to earth, nice guy, even before he became a megastar. So shout out, Patrick. Jamie Foxx does a pretty good Trump. Sorry, say that again.
Yes, he does. He does actually do a very good Trump impression. I've heard it.
Okay,
he's pretty funny. But I was disagreeing with AJ
about Xi as a dangerous person.
Yep.
There you go. I think of Xi as Winnie the Pooh, just because it's fun.
The decisions he makes are dangerous.
Yeah, no question about it. No question about it. QNTM, maybe this is curling here back through 5. How about some of our bigger stocks? What are we looking at? How's Tesla doing here today? Okay, Tesla kind of calmed down. How about Apple? Apple up near the
Apple on
highs.
recovery.
How's Meta holding in there?
I think I was asked earlier if I would, if or not. I don't think I was asked personally, but I think we were asked if we would be buying Meta up here.
Not me.
I don't think I would either.
Yeah, I have a just personal thing with Meta.
Well, I mean, I own Apple, and I'm not a big fan of really anything that they're doing right now. But the stock seems to keep going up. So guess what I'm doing?
Playing with it.
Mm-hmm.
My dad played golf with Trump before he was on TV. How'd he shoot? Was he still striping at 240 every tee box? Yeah, Fairchild saying that the guys that want Xi's job are also dangerous. Got to be a snake pit in their facts, Fairchild.
Just the whole CCP. I mean, I don't want to get into political discussion, but
don't even need to do that here today.
Let's see. There was something I saw here. I wanted to. Oh, so Raj G asking us if any thoughts on Black Sky for a swing. That's
okay. So this one actually was the last loss that I took here, and gosh, I guess maybe I should have just been patient and held on to it. Nonetheless, here Black Sky Technology shares are trading higher after the company announced it won an EMDYN subscription contract to deliver on-demand Gen 2 space-based imagery services here.
And that's not the same news that we got on January 28th, where they had a $100 million defense contract.
Interesting.
That was for Gen 3 real-time space-based monitoring capabilities, not the Gen 2. So this is new news. They were getting business.
I'll tell you what, with that $100 million defense contract, stock traded up 11% on that. It was up 13% here today.
Yeah, so Black Sky, one of the space themes here. Seeing that we're coming up to a bit of a topping out area from previous times that this was traded. December 12th, or I'm sorry, I guess December 12th or 13th of 22. That was an 18 print, and then we reversed hard. Later on in July of 23, we hit a high of almost 19, and then we came right back in to new lows. So really need to break out and hold above this 18, 19 area, it seems. Otherwise, this could be at risk for coming back in like it has both those times previously.
There you go, Raj. Thank you, 13. I haven't been following Black Sky. I know I just recently day traded it to no avail, but appreciate that, Raj. Let me know if that helped you out there.
And I love the space theme this whole year. So if we see these things, go on the absolute tears that they're clearly on right now, we just might have to wait and for some pullback. And we are anticipating that we could be getting some of that soon. So if that does come to fruition, then we're going to have some pretty good buying opportunities in the not too distant future for ourselves. I think the space theme is going to be strong.
You've been consistent on that for a while too. You're welcome, Raj.
Yep.
I buy a few steaks to grow in the backyard. Okay.
Well, they could be A5 Wagyus with that kind of money.
MindMed and MSOS running, Mike? Is that on more pot news here? Do we actually have news on that? Let's MindMed to present at the Oppenheimer 35th Annual Healthcare Life Sciences. This is the one. Okay, this is on February 12th in the morning.
They're going to present?
Yeah, but I'm trying to figure out Mike's other comment here. He can clear things up on a federal level. Marijuana companies need to deposit cash into banks with ease. You're describing the big problem that's stopping some of these pot companies, but I'm not sure what else that's in reference to. I must have missed this.
It's just a matter of rescheduling the drug. That's really all it comes down to. Just
you're talking about the RFK nomination. Okay.
Oh.
He advances to full. Danny had it here for us, I think. RFK advances to full Senate confirmation. I think all of those folks are going to be confirmed. There's just a bunch of hubris going back and forth.
Yeah, they're just letting the minority, have their say, but I don't think it's going to amount to anything because they don't have the power.
Me either. EVAX, this is actually pretty interesting here. EVAX, maybe if this can continue curling through 370, maybe we can make a move back towards 4 or the VWAP there at 407.
Oh yeah, that is getting some support there. It looks like at the 450 area is where the buyers started stepping in. Now we're coming back up to VWAP.
EVAX is testing a potential curl here.
Yeah, good mention here. This looks like it is going to try and recapture that VWAP. The big question is, if it does do that, can it get back over 380 and up through 4 again? Because all pre-market, you have these consolidation areas that we're going to have to hit on the way up, and we're going to need some more volume to get through those. So that volume doesn't show up or doesn't materialize. This isn't going to get to these pre-market highs of 492.
Hang on a sec here. I got to check something real quick.
Yeah, I got to look at CAT because Lime is mentioning that, and they are going lower on. Apparently, I mean, I don't know what exactly the news is that they're going lower on. I don't think they had earnings today. Got a lot of price targets over the past couple of weeks. Yeah, they already reported.
Just Anne Marie reaching out to me. What do you guys feel about a Google trade into earnings? I would actually probably take that trade if we do a Google trade. So I'm going to tell her yes on this.
Let's see here. I only have levels to the south, not the north.
Are you doing Deer for Lion here?
No. I'm looking at Google.
Okay.
I'll check out Deer next. I guess I could see Google going higher. It's not, it's getting to be, get that area of being overbought, but not quite there yet. So I could see it pushing up into the, the 210s or 2 teens. But I don't know how much higher it's going to go after that. There would have to be something coming out that we aren't, expecting. And they have to make a new announcement about, their AI chips or something that they're doing. Because I don't know how, if their earnings based on the regular products they have right now are going to help drive it further than the levels I mentioned. But it'll be something to watch for. What are we watching for here with earnings? What is the thought with Google other than, hey, they're pretty much the biggest search engine and they've got a lot of really great products?
Here, I actually, you know what? I've got something for us on that. I have an earnings preview that I believe that we did here. Here we go. I'm going to throw this link in the chat for everybody here. Boom, boom, boom. And then 13, let me see if I can very briefly answer your questions here real quick. Technology giant Alphabet could focus on cloud, AI, and YouTube growth when the company reports its fourth quarter financial results here today. Company's expecting $96.6 billion, up from $86 billion. EPS expectation $2.13, up from $1.64. Said one analyst, Justin Post from Bank of America, it looks like, has a buy rating and a 225 target, said Alphabet should show positive commentary on cloud demand in the fourth quarter results and commentary. Alphabet will likely show strength in search due to its AI usage and helping with monetization, and YouTube could also benefit from improved AI targeting. So here you go. Here is a primer for your Google earnings tonight, folks. Link in the chat. 13, was there something else in here that you wanted me to try to find? Oh, he might be frozen. I can never tell. I can never tell. Well, it's been a tough one here today for me, folks. But we'll still try and do the best that we can. Okay. All right. Let's take a look through some of our movers here. QNTM actually just took a little bit of a plunge there. We'll see. QNRX. This is ramping here. Penny stock ramping on volume.
Oh, wow. QNRX.
Popped on volume right there.
Yeah. And right as soon as you started getting that explanation for me, I had to crash.
I know, that was wild. I was just saying, what a fake out.
No, I actually just, pulled the plug on my computer. I didn't want to hear it. I'm just kidding. All right. So that was that again.
Real quick, folks. What other stocks do we want to set up with Anne-Marie here today? Google, we're definitely going to put on the list. Did any of you mention any? Lion said maybe DE might be a good one. Was that for Anne-Marie, Lion Atlas? You'll have to remind me. Deer might be a good one.
I'm not sure I'm liking it right now. And it does. And you're talking about playing it for earnings because that's in 2 weeks. Or when
she's asking for, are there any other names that we want to take a look at? I mean, some of the earnings tonight. By the way, let's take a look here. Earnings after the close: AMD, Google, Snap, Chipotle, EA, Amgen.
Oh, there was one I wanted to look at this morning because it looked interesting. I mentioned it yesterday. It could be a good swing. I'm trying to think of what that was. I'll think about it. ARM tonight? Oh, that'll be interesting.
Oh, does ARM also report? Because I know AMD did.
Yeah.
No, tomorrow.
Tomorrow, you're right. After
so it's tomorrow after the market. But you know what? Maybe ARM might be another one that we could do for a potential trade here.
Oh, man, I really wish I could think of that name that we were talking about yesterday.
AMD, okay.
Because it had a really good looking reversal candle. Shoot, wish I had written it down. What were we talking about yesterday in happy hour? Because besides what it's in my notes, I know there was one I saw that I was like, oh, that looks like a really good reversal. And it was off of. I think I remember what it was. Yeah. Well, that didn't. I mean, it's a little higher, but it's Magna International. This was off the tariff. This is MGA off the tariff news because that hammered this. This is a car parts company that's based in Canada, and they got hammered on the tariff news. And I thought, well, if this is going to get resolved, then this could rebound. We're up slightly, but not really that big of a move up. But it just really hammered the stock, created a hammer down here, and I thought, oh, that might be an interesting swing. So that anyway, that's just something I thought would have been an interesting swing trade.
So this was the reversal that you were just asking about down here. Gotcha.
Yeah. So not really that big of a move, but I thought it might be interesting. Maybe it does better over the coming days, but this is just something I was looking at because I own MGA.
I am seeing some Google calls. Oh, you know what? Let me ensure that this is actually. Let me really quickly adjust this because I've refreshed and I've gone back and forth here today. Let me make sure these are all current. Yep, sure are. Google calls there. A lot of the tech names here. Actually, S&P 500 continuing to trade higher here. 601. 13. Are you good? Is your computer stable at least for the time being?
It seems like that, and then the next thing I know, I'm getting booted.
BRB, 1 sec.
Okay. So China names are flying. So let's see what's the yen telling us right now. Well, that's gapped up this morning after bouncing off the 500-day SMA. So yeah, those China names are looking pretty good. I'll have to look and see when Trump and Xi exactly are supposed to be speaking today. Because it's going to be a big headline, I would expect. Who is an economist here? Don't look at me. PayPal is pounded, says Izzy. IPL. Yeah, what happened here with their earnings? They authorized a 15 billion stock repurchase program. My God. Where are they going to get the money for that? From the buy now, pay later scam? Let's see here. So where is this money coming from? Because I see that they have as much as, what is this, almost 12 billion in cash equivalents and short-term investments from where that money could come from, but 15 billion.
Okay, what were we mentioning? Oh, I think he froze. Holy smokes. I came back just at the right time. Wow. Okay. I'm just going to keep running through the scanner here real quick. The LCN that did finally come into the VWAP. Finally, twice. 2 moves back to the VWAP. We'll see if we get another bounce here in VLCN. You guys were talking about Root earlier. I know that that's insurance for Carvana, right? So Carvana, this seems to be moving with Root. Carvana, actually a potential breakout here. I almost have like a cup and handle formation there, almost on Carvana. Let's see. What else am I missing here real quick? Elf, Jay, you were talking about that. What about Elf for a potential earnings play? Oh, this is the elusive Batman Head and Shoulders, guys. This, I believe, is the Batman Head and Shoulders formation. You have a shoulder here, and then the bat ears up here. I'm pretty sure that's the Batman formation. 13 was talking about PayPal before he dropped. Let me go back to that. Yeah. I think I hear 13, dude. Leave no men behind, 13. We got you.
Oh, just leave me, but, or just leave me behind, but, let me keep the cookies. Anyway, yeah. I'm gonna have to roll back my my bias.
I know how I'm sorry. I'm trying to cheer you up because I know exactly how frustrated you are at this very moment.
And don't worry. As soon as we're done with the stream, I'll be flipping my table, and I'll feel better after that.
Well, at least he's honest there, folks. Real quickly here on PayPal. This had earnings here this morning. Not great for PayPal. What were you asking about? Maybe the next spot to potentially add this at PYPL?
Asking me?
Or anyone. Izzy said that you were talking about PayPal before you dropped, so I was trying to pick up where you were leaving off. And he's gone. He is definitely, I think the more we try and bring him on here, the more likely that a table flip is a legit possibility. And I don't want to see anything broken at my friend's home today, so put your hands together and pray for our main man 13 here. We're struggling here today. We definitely don't want him to break stuff. 13, don't break stuff. I think you might be muted this time. This poor guy, he's gonna be pissed at me. We'll let him figure that out. Izzy said, I wanted to know if it's a buy soon. Okay, so I'll be honest with you, Izzy. At this point, I kind of want to wait this out. Any of these that really kind of snap several of their moving averages here, I almost feel like the date with the 200 is inevitable. And so maybe if we give this a week or two here, you get PayPal to come in, maybe the 75 level. And at that point, perhaps your 200-day creeps up towards 75. It's only $1.20 away from that level right now. 75. If you were asking me right now, what area would I put a buy? What would I view as a buy area? I would probably say 75. I wouldn't be shocked if it found some support at this 77 area, but honestly, let this come in a little bit more. 75 would be the spot that I'd be looking at. You're asking about a 3-day rule here. Sure. Here's the thing though, is what you might, if this does not continue to break down, we're down 9% here today. If this does not continue to break down, we're actually not that far beneath the 100-day. So if you're talking about a 3-day rule here, it's possible, depending on how this continues to perform here, it's possible that PayPal actually recaptures this level. It's only 2.5 points higher than where we're at. It's possible this recovers this in the next 2 sessions there. And then I would say I would scrap what I'm talking about here in terms of waiting out 75. I think if you're going to play a short-term play on a recapture of that 100-day, I think that might work, but you really need to do that. And let's see, today is Tuesday, right? So you need to do that by Thursday, right? That Thursday candle needs to recross this line to the upside. Ryan, your audio is cutting in and out now. Can confirm audio is choppy. Conditionally accepted said audio is good here. Is it me or is the sound going in and out? Dude, we have producer, let me know what you guys hear. Let me see. Let me go load the stream up. Let me go load the stream up on a different window and see. I get the same thing. Okay, I'm listening to it right now. Sounds fine. No, this sounds fine, guys. That might be on your end. I didn't hear a single breakup there. Big B's saying, no, you're good. Sound is fine. There's Ryan Milligan. Ryan, how you doing? Audio seems fine. Okay, sorry about that. It's those tariffs, Crow. LOL, that's actually pretty funny. Mike asking, isn't Paul Meeks on after your show? Paul Meeks is actually on after the Anne Marie show that we do right after this. But yes, 11:30, we will have Paul Meeks on today. So really good mention there, Mike. Audio is perfect on Twitch. Bang. Audio is good on YouTube. Bang. Audio is good on Twitter. Okay. X. Sorry. I know I call it Twitter, but it's X. Okay. Sorry about that. If you're having audio issues, maybe it was intermittent or maybe it is on your end. Anyway, PayPal here. So would I be looking for, can we actually recapture the 100-day? If so, maybe you can trade that on a short-term trade. Otherwise, if I'm waiting for this to really kind of carve out a support level, I like 75 a little bit more than I like this 80 handle right here. That's how I would wrap this up on PayPal. Is there news for HPE? Let's take a look. HPE, Tuesday, February 4th. Juniper upgraded ahead of, so this was a partner link, so this might have happened yesterday. Juniper Network drops. Is Biden appointee named? So no. So this story here is talking about Juniper upgraded ahead of earnings as potential acquisition by HPE heads to court. Okay, so it looks like the only news going on here has to do with this potential merger between Hewlett Packard Enterprise, that's what HPE is, and Juniper, ticker JNPR, Juniper Networks. Not a story that I follow, though. Not a story that I follow, Sebastian, but that looks like that's the only news that I have here going on. Yesterday, we got a PR here about a new board of director being appointed. All right, we're going to try again with 13. Nope, he's frozen. Frozen? He's not frozen.
Oh. Man. Okay. Well, I know what I'm doing today.
It sounds like you're working on a computer there. Hopefully we have you for happy hour.
Yeah, and it's just frustrating because this is the same computer I've been using all last year, and
wasn't that a new build?
Brand new build. Everything was working just fine until I just ran into those camera issues and updated the BIOS, and now it's all gone to hell.
So you did update, you did reflash your BIOS.
Yeah, I told you I did.
Oh, so that's already done, and now you're creating.
No. So when I was texting you yesterday,
dude.
When I was texting you yesterday, I was telling you that I was flashing my BIOS because I was trying to figure out the camera problem, and I thought that there was something anyway, I'm not going to get into everything that I was doing yesterday because now I just have more work ahead of me. We have the market to talk about anyway. So
Steve says, check your RAM timing. That's actually not a bad call there. And he dropped just as he said that. All right. Obviously, we're going to work through these tech issues here. 8 minutes left until we go to Anne Marie and then Paul Meeks. And I have not heard any tech issues from either of those two. So you folks should be good going forward here. All right. Let me know if there's anything else that you guys are trading. Baidu is up. Are the rest of those Chinese names up? Baidu, Baba. Yep. BlackBerry. Pinduoduo. Was someone trading Pinduoduo yesterday? I feel like big run here today. That one of the better Chinese stocks to trade, if you ask me. This is fun today, Ryan. Hey, as long as it's fun for you. Like I said, I've been in the position that 13 is in, and I guarantee he's not having any fun. I feel bad about that. 13 is having a day. Indeed, he is. But he's smart. He's a smart guy. He'll get that fixed up. Someone was asking about RCAT earlier. I think you were asking if Anne Marie would do an options trade on RCAT. I don't even know if that's feasible. RCAT does have options, and they're not that liquid. I don't know if we're going to be able to do that there on RCAT. Can always ask depending on the time. We'll see. You were talking, Mike, bringing up race here. That's, of course, Ferrari. I remember when this IPO'd. I was like, should I buy some Ferrari? Be a Ferrari stockholder? This thing, I mean, it was like $60 back then. This thing is $460 here. Does anyone trade this? Does anyone trade race? Be curious to know if anyone does that. All right, 13. We'll try it again.
No, I'm just going to call it here.
I was going to say, get to work, man.
Yeah, I appreciate everybody, trying with the tech support. I trust me, I've tried everything. I understand what's going on here. It's the update. It's not a stable BIOS update. I just need to roll it back. I just didn't have enough time to do that. I thought I had things fixed before I came on here. Apparently, that's not the case. There's as far as the RAM goes, no change in the settings. So from when it was stable to now, no difference. So it can't be that. But I'm sure that I'm getting a lot of problems as a result of this BIOS update in the RAM addressing. So I have work to do, folks. So I'll catch you later.
It's all right. 13, good stuff. I totally understand. Like I said, tech issues never fun to be in. Good luck with all that, though.
I'll be on tomorrow. Yeah, I'll be on tomorrow. Worst case scenario, I'll just have my old computer that I'll be using. So I'll be here tomorrow. Shouldn't have any problems. I'll see you then, folks. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. All
right. 13, take care of yourself. We will see him later, and we will see him again tomorrow. I'm sure we'll get those tech issues ironed out here. We have 5 minutes until we start with Anne Marie. Actually, maybe we can do it a little early. Can I get a thumbs up if we can start early? Oh, you guys are in luck. You guys are in luck. Okay, real quick. Just as far as some of the movers that we were taking a look at, I just do want to do one quick check-in on some of those before we leave here for today, or before we go over to Anne Marie here for today. QNTM, very disappointing here. VLCN, looks like we're on the backside of this move. Maybe this does bounce here from the 675, 684 area that we talked about. EVAX was another one. This kind of gave it up. Really kind of a bummer. GCTX kind of a bummer. And Zone kind of a bummer. So glad we were able to scalp early on VLCN. That looks like really one of the only movers here from today on some of these smaller names. IVVD, a lot of these kind of poor here today. Shout out to any of you that were trading BBAI. Ryan Milligan, looking at you, man. BBAI, this did take out 5. This one also. So between VLCN, BBAI, those were our two small movers here today. Okay, let's get on over to Anne Marie. I got to go ahead and change all of this stuff here real quick. God, I can never find it. There we go. Let's bring Anne Marie on. Anne Marie, how are you doing here today?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing all right here. My co-host had some tech issues today, so I'm hoping that the tech gremlins have at least been subdued for right now. But with that, we have a little extra time. So I know we had a number of stocks on the list here from our
Got
group.
them already.
So let's cover them. Let's go ahead and start. I'm going to go ahead and bring up your screen share here. Looks like you've got Palantir first. And Anne Marie, what a move on Palantir yesterday.
Yeah. And so the beautiful thing is the call side that we had. Now, my Iron Condor is in a little bit of trouble. So I'm probably going to have to roll this into a forward month. But we had the 90, 100, 110 call butterfly. And I think we got it for maybe a little bit over $1. It's worth 260 right now. It would actually, as long as we stick around 105 and head into um, the expiry of February, this thing's going to be worth $4 or $5. So that is very sweet.
Now that
So
February expiry is the 21st, so that's still
yes,
like 2 weeks away there.
yes.
So something to consider there. So what do you do in a situation like this? Do you just kind of like, is it the opposite of putting in that the good till cancel order to fill it? Do you just put it out there and hope that it gets hit? How do you manage this?
So what I like to do is cut it off in tranches. The first
Okay,
thing I want to do is cover my overhead. So I'm
sure.
sitting in a little bit of a free trade. So what I'll do normally is cut the position in half. And so once I've cut the position in half, then for the rest of it, I'll put the wishing order out there, and that's going to be about $4 for me. So we'll see if we can get, 300% return on that. And then I'll just keep watching it as it goes through time because we do have 17 days. But now that we've done that, I just want to say we talked about it in the Benzinga Pro midday Moneyball report yesterday. For those of you that are members, get in there. The video is up for all the things we went through. You can scan through that and pick it up. And I don't know, just giving myself a shameless plug. There you have it.
Always. I mean, look, Anne-Marie, we'll do a shameless plug anytime that you want. So no worries there. Be sure to check out Anne-Marie Band's channel in Benzinga Pro. Okay, let's talk about Google
Okay.
here. I'll be honest with you. I'm interested in this one. I'm probably going to take this with you. Full disclosure here. So what do you got?
Okay, so a couple of things. Interestingly enough, for these tech names, I am noticing that the market makers are being very conservative with motion, and that's giving our positions a lot of potential upside when they do move. So, Google's had a few problems. And so the reason, let's just use this from a pure numbers perspective, and then we'll look at the picture. So the
Okay.
first thing is that we notice the market makers are positioning a $12 move into the earnings. And further down the line, we've got the 21st of Feb expiry, and they are only 15, maybe almost $16. So it's 20% more than what the market makers have done. But what I've been noticing is that the market makers are coming, they're not pricing their options so expensive that we can't chase the move in. So what we can do are two things. We want to look at a pre-earnings release, and then we want to look at a post-earnings trade. So for the pre-earnings trade, let's take a look at where all the traders are sitting. They're sitting at $220, 10,000 of them right there. 220 is $13 higher than the current price, which matches the market maker. Okay, so chances are a fair bunch of these guys are short. Just saying, if they're selling the
Okay.
spread, looking for vol, the implied volatility is not very high, which is why these options are a little bit cheaper. You could do two things. You could say, hey, I want to get inside that move. And so I'm going to take the 210, 220, 230, and that's going to be $1.76. if you're looking for the outsized move that the traders that have the option chains have been really missing the mark on, you could do the 220, 230, 240. And that is
Okay.
$1.10, okay, as opposed to $1.73. So we can look at both of those from that perspective. The put side is, I'm looking at the same amount, $13, $18, something like that. We know that if there's a put pressure event, it's probably going to be more aggressive than a call pressure event. So again, I went to see where all the traders were sitting at that 185 level, and I took the 185 to 175 to 165 position. Now, you'll notice that 155 has got open interest of 23,000.
Yep.
Again, my thought is that these are folks that have sold the options. They've put an obligation. They've put an obligation in that says, hey, listen, if it comes into 155, it's a good buy. I'm going to take it. So they're committing themselves to saying, all right, if it comes into 155, I'll buy it. So let's see from a picture perspective why they might have positioned there. And so we'll start our spinning clock of 2, 2, 2, 2, and waiting for it to come in. So here we are. Look at how far away 155 is. It's right here around the breakout area. Old resistance, support, a brand new high, a retest of that breakout, and a move forward. So the traders are thinking, you know what? I'll buy this. It's a good buy here at 155. And so I can see why they've positioned themselves as an obligation there. So let's take a look at, because my brain is a sieve, I can't remember. 220 is where most of the traders are positioning on the short side. There's nothing else that's bigger than this open interest area. That's 220. So let's take a look at resistance. If we stare down the chart for what's been going on in the week, I'm going to double our handy dandy box.
Okay.
And I'm going to put it up here. And we're going to see that the halfway marker of that box is about 219. Here's the halfway box here. I'll move it here. Whoopsie. Come along, Fred. Activate drawing. There we go. Halfway on the box looks like about 219. That's what my eyeballs are telling me. So again, it seems clear to me that those traders have also sold that, and they're willing to take themselves probably to 225 before it rotates up. All right, so that's the rationale behind the Google trade. Let's go to EA. These spreads in February are a little tighter than I love. And so let's take a look, weekly chart. A lot of people look at the support ledge, right? A lot of support somewhere here around 110 to 115. This monster fade, we have to measure. So let's use a Fibonacci.
And I have a follow-up question in reference to that monster fade in a sec here.
No, you go ahead.
You want me to go ahead? Okay, so that monster fade was on a preliminary announcement. They preliminary announced their earnings and their guidance, and now we're actually getting that here today. So I was wondering if, you know, how that maybe factors into this trade. And let me actually go back and pull the news here, because I want to make sure I said revenue and guidance. I want to make sure I get that correct here. I'm sorry. Remind me again what that day was. February. What was that candle there?
This is the week of January 20th.
Okay.
So this is not a daily candle. This is a weekly candle.
Okay. So electronic, thank you very much. So they pre-announced preliminary results, Q3 results, and it was not good. So
Interesting.
yeah. So, okay. So that's what this was. And it looks like it was preliminary results. They talked about cutting bookings, talked about their net revenue and their EPS. So that's what that was. So with them pre-announcing, does that change the calculus or how you approach this trade at all?
That's a very good question. And honestly, I deal so little with pre-releases that I have to say I don't have any heuristic data here
Okay.
that gives me an idea of what I might be looking at. But what I do see here is everybody agrees that I don't mind selling up near 130 and I don't mind buying down here near 110. And that's been true for at least 3 years.
Yep.
So this is a baseline bounce in my mind, because now sort of the unknowns are sitting and a retrace to the 50% of that candlestick seems pretty logical to me. Just a hunch. Okay, so let's go to the tabs. And so because of that, because I believe it's very close to a buy zone, I don't have a double butterfly. Instead, I have cheap insurance, which is the 105 put, right? $40 here or there. And then the 125, 130, 135 spread that says, hey, if they bounce, 130 looks like the midline, right? And
Sure does. Looks good to me.
Yeah. So to me, here we have a choice. You're in $1.20. If it falls off the rails, then your 105 put is going to really expand, particularly because you've got 17 days left. It's going to continue to trend in that space. I think it's more insurance rather than anything else, because everything's pointing to a particular bounce event in that space. What it might do is go, I don't think I'm going to do anything. And then you've got, 17 days left here. A ton of the volatility has dropped out, right? These are 30% as opposed to, 50% like it was maybe a couple of days ago. And so this says that would be the one I would choose.
Okay. Yeah. So this is interesting because I was actually trading this off that recent drop there. When we pre-announced and EA came in, it actually did a real good job on that daily chart of holding that area, right? So it came into like 117. It did trade down, but it held 115 really well. Now, on one of those days, and I can actually get you the exact day here, on one of those days, it was going to be Monday, the 27th of January. It again held that day. And I thought to myself, I thought to myself, okay, so we're going to take this here. And I actually took a 120 call because I was, and just the calls, because I was expecting a bounce. Well, over the next 3 days, we got that. And because I had kind of a small position, I said to myself, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to sell the 120s and I'm going to use that to buy some of the 130s. So I sold and rolled into a higher strike there, thinking that if we continue to bounce,
Exactly.
I'm already going to have the exposure there. Our downside, the stocks already kind of told us what's going to happen from this earnings print. And the market then told us that 115 really seemed to be the bottom. So I opted not to have any kind of downside protection there. Now, because I'm in the second leg of this trade, I've got profit booked on the first half of it, and I'm kind of just letting this ride here. I'm almost thinking here at this point, probably just let this one ride, right? Because you've already got some profit booked. I don't know if I need to take away any more potential gains by adding the solo puts that you had there.
Yeah.
And so
I like what you're saying.
Okay. I'm sorry
Yeah.
for I know I'm talking about my own trade here, but given what you were the levels and the analysis you were just doing.
Excellent analysis.
Okay.
Definitely. Kudos.
Okay, so I'm locked and loaded on EA, but if you're looking for a new one here, it looks like the butterflies, that the double butterfly that you had outlined there is the way, or the single butterfly.
Yeah.
Single butterfly. The protection on the
I don't even think you need this put, but if you're not Sally Sunshine about this, it might not be a bad idea to take some gains.
To have it there as protection. Okay. And then real quickly here, Robert's saying, I agree. I see a lot of bullish flow in EA. So Robert, who watches options quite a bit, seeing that flow to the upside. Okay. Really good stuff there on EA. What do you got next here?
All right. Let's go to Chipotle.
Perfect.
Again, let's take a look at what the traders are doing from the pure options perspective. $4 is all they're looking for. So what is that? 8% maybe of the move, right? 8% move. The options are pricing in $5. So 20% more where they're going to make their money. So if we go $4, right? We're going to have 62 as a potential target.
Mm-hmm.
And if we go $4, we're going to have 55 as a potential target. If we stare it down, we can see there's 10,000 of open interest at 55. Not so many at 62, but a boatload at 60. So we're going to follow them in. And if we follow them in, we're going to do 60, 65, 70, 55, 50, 45. So that's about $1.60. Let's take a look at what the pictures tell us. So we're looking at 55 and 60 in terms of our spread action, right in between, fairly close to Chipotle. So, hard to say what they're going to do. The stock's been super volatile, right, in my mind. So I'm going to delete all the drawings here. And if we just take a big picture look, we can see that these guys are legitimately caught in a range, right? And they're caught in a range that if they lose 55, it's headed lower. So now we know why they've sold the 55 puts.
Yep.
Right? And up here is their old breakaway formation at 60. And now we know why they've essentially sold the 60 calls. I do think they've also sold those calls. I don't think that those calls are very strategically long. You want to answer that question? Are there tutorials for Benzinga Pro beginners? Because boy, are there.
Yes, there absolutely are. They're in your platform. So when we wrap up here with Anne-Marie, I'll go back to my screen share and I'll show you how you can access those tutorials right from within your platform. So sit tight. We'll do that here before we go over to Paul Meeks.
All right. And so this is why they've done it. If you're thinking to yourself, hey, this is going to be a nothing burger, I would say take a look at earnings. Huge spike up after earnings. Huge spike up after earnings. Huge spike up after earnings. Split. Here we are down, and then another huge spike up for earnings. It pulls back. They buy the support every single time. These guys are buying support. Apparently, Chipotle is a magnificent place to go feed your face. Neither here nor there for me. But there is a lot of institutional holding here. And the biggest candle that we can see in terms of range is sitting right at 55, all the way down to 47. So if it collapses, buyers are going to come in at that 47 area, pull it back up to 50. Our put butterfly is going to be fine. Also, we've got a sell-off spike here at that 65, 66 area. I think we're perfectly positioned for the CMG trade. Perfectly positioned. All right. Next one. Oh my. Would you believe I forgot? Let me go to our
I think it's AMD.
conversation. Yes. Thank you. Man, listen, I was on an interview yesterday with somebody, and it was like 3 of us in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Person asked the question. The person in the middle answers the question. And then somebody from the audience goes, how would you respond to that? And my thought was, I don't even remember the question.
I know.
So,
Anne-Marie, I'm glad someone else, I've had that before too. Where I've been in a group setting and a question has been asked and I'm not the first to answer. And then I'm scrambling and you get that feeling where your cheeks are tingling because you're like, oh my God, I can't remember. Oh man, I've been there.
Listen,
I'm so sorry you had to go through that.
I'm so used to being embarrassed about being just a space cadet sometimes. I just simply came out and said, I don't remember your question. They weren't surprised that I said
honesty is always the best policy. Always.
All right. So here we are looking at AMD. It's in a very interesting patch, right? They are definitely in some kind of flux related to how their chips are able to compete, what's going on. But my Keltner band shows a lot of pressure from the upside, meaning all these bounces are getting sold. Now, the down part of the Keltner channel, the underlying one, is not so steep. So there's also buying pressure from underneath, but we are looking at 115 to 95 on the downside, and then maybe 125 or so to 135 on the upside. So I built this, but I don't remember what I did, obviously. So let's
What
take
was
a
the question again?
Oh, okay.
Gotta laugh about
yeah.
it.
So let's see what the traders are. Market makers are saying, look, we got about a $10 move. The traders have priced in $13 to the move. And so a $10 move from here puts it at 127. Look at where the traders are sitting. 125. Okay. So we can build a more expensive one that says 125 to 130 to 135 and just give it a $5 spread, and that's 2 of them together. Now, if you do this, it's 43 cents. It gives us, let's say it goes $10 up and it hits that 130. It's very cheap. It's very, very cheap. If the market makers win, that means the price action will be less than $10. And so if it's less than $10 and you think the market makers are going to win, which they very often do, though they haven't been lately, then the more expensive butterfly is the one that you might consider at this 119 to 126. This one up here, I know I don't mean to crowd us out, but this one up here has got actually a $10 spread that says, hey, listen, if we go from 130 to 140 to 150, that one's 88 cents. My gut suggests you might ought to consider the 125 to 130. That middle strike gives us all the money they've priced into the spread. And as long as literally the price action could go to $134 at expiration, we'd still make money. Because we only paid 43 cents for it and we would have $1 left. So
Okay.
there's a lot of upside here going with the cheaper call. I could say the same on the put, but again, this is a $10 spread. So just for kicks, if we went $10 out, 135 to 145, it'd be more than twice how much the $5 spread was. And even if we went out to March, it would be very expensive. So my suspicion is from the math that we'll be in good shape to hit the middle strike if it does a little bit more. Oopsie. Oh, that's that. Why is that a credit? Oh, because this is 135. Sorry. Let's go back to Fed. Right. So 42 cents. And it gives us the $12 move of the market makers positioning. You know, it's cheap. I have the put set out way far away just in case the wheels come off the bus. You know, and the chart action really tells us, hey, if I lose 115, getting to 100 is not going to be that hard. And that's a big fat round number. So that's my thought there. All right. Wait, how did I do?
We got 6 minutes left. You volunteered to come on early, so we have plenty of time here. Let's see. We took a look at EA, Chipotle,
said something.
AMD, and Google. Yep.
Okay, someone said something. They said, "Hey, why don't we do XYZ?" And of course,
was it Carvana? Because I think that got mentioned in here. Hang on a sec. I know what you're talking about. It was Elf. It was Lion Atlas saying Google, AMD, Amazon, or maybe Elf. So I guess take your pick here between Amazon and Elf. We'll make sure we get one there. Thank you, Lion. But by the way, I had asked earlier, and I don't think I commented on it. I appreciate you getting back to us.
Thank you so much. All right, so Amazon looks like a runaway train, right?
Yeah,
Full
sure
disclosure, does. We closed a very beautiful position. We had the 230 to 245 butterfly. It was a little more expensive, but holy cow, that was about 680 when we sold it. It was about maybe 400% return. So that was fantastic. Yeah, it was insane. It's very beautiful. So here they are pricing in $19. Market makers, 14. Let's see where the traders are sitting. 250, 265. So we go to 280. All right, expensive, right? If you want to do a 1x3x2, I would not, simply because this chart, you know, it could Zamboni you, no doubt about it. It could just knock you right to the floor. So here we have one at 17,000 at the 220. If we went to 205 to give the same $15 range, that'd be 190, 99 cents. So take your pick. Cheap, On the put side, that's where the option chains are sitting. Let's say 10, 18, $19 from 240. Let's say it's 20, so that's 260. That's if the market makers are right, it's 260. If we've got 40,000 of them here, feels like it feels like some of them are buying right here at this 250 marker. So maybe we bring it in a little cheaper and we go 255, 265, 275. It's $1. And $1,000 of upside. If they got 265 here also. So if you're looking for, listen, these guys are going to blow the doors off of it just like Palantir did. You go 265, 280, 295. It's 111, $1,500 of upside for this, and they're both $15 wide. I actually like that.
Okay.
$2.10 or so.
I was going to say this much cheaper than the first set that we were just taking a look at. I like this one more too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is a good looking set. I like it a lot. When do they report?
Amazon. Let me get you the actual date for that.
I got it. 2/6. My brother's birthday.
There we go. Thursday
Also
after
Ronald
the
Reagan's
market
birthday.
closes. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to go ahead. Thank you, Anne-Marie. Real quick question here. Does Bro have any idea what this lady sent? Yeah, we do this every week. We do this twice a week because I don't even know what I'm looking at. Is this order book trading? Okay, so real quickly, I'll start by explaining it. No, the way we do this is we first take a look at the chart. I think you've got this on a weekly chart, right? Yeah. So
Yes.
first she takes a look at the chart to identify the different levels of where the stock might go in both directions. And then she flips over to the other tab where this is Thinkorswim, by the way, for the order placing. And then she sets up multi-leg trades to take advantage of those levels that she does the technical analysis on here. So for Amazon, she gave you the different areas there, which were highlighted by the boxes where the stock could move. And then she set up what's called a multi-leg trade here. These are butterflies in both direction, the put and the call side, so she can capture movement in either direction. And Anne-Marie, the hope here is that movement in one of the direction will be enough to pay for both trades plus some profit. That's the entire thesis here, Matt.
Exactly.
Let me know if you have any follow-up questions, and be sure to join us again every time from 11 to 11:30. We can actually answer more of your questions and follow-up questions if you have them. Shout out and shameless plug, Anne-Marie. If you join Benzinga Pro, you'll be able to go through this stuff every day. So it's not just that. Okay, and then real quick here, Anne-Marie, thanks very much. Appreciate it. I do, before I send you over to Paul Meeks here, John, hopefully you're still around. I want to show you how to access that content. So Anne-Marie, we'll catch up with you on Friday. Thanks very much. Let's see if these earnings pay us here today.
Yes, absolutely. See you soon. Bye, everybody.
Really good stuff there, Anne-Marie. Let's go ahead and take a look at Pro here real quick. John, are there tutorials for Benzinga Pro? Yes, there are, and you have access to that stuff right here in the platform. So from wherever you are, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, all you have to do is click the welcome page workspace at the top. All of these bullet points in here are videos, but more specifically, I recommend that you go down here, the Pro course. This takes you to our EDU website. You can sign up and take a video-based course that walks you through every tool. When you're done with that, sign up for the Pro Help session. This is an hour-long Zoom call that we do on Thursday where we cover research and Benzinga Pro. This forum gives you an opportunity to ask some questions where I can demonstrate to you live how to do those different things. So, John, check that out, the Pro course and the Pro Help, and we have other help videos here. Okay, awesome stuff. Matt, good to see you here every day. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions. We can spend some more time and try to help explain the process. If it is confusing, I understand. That's what happens with option trading, especially early on, but I'm confident we can help you understand that. Folks, I'm going to send you over to Paul Meeks next here. Thanks for joining us. Stay green, stay safe, stay focused.